Welcome, Normal America Show. Look at that. For once, I'm not muted when I come on. Got a smile on my face. Hello! I'm your host, Rob Noerr. It's happy. What is this, Thursday? It is Thursday. Man. You love Thursdays, right? I love Thursdays. By the time I end my stream tonight, it'll be Friday. Fridays are good. Then you have Saturdays and Sundays. All good stuff. So, man, I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Don't tell me it's Wednesday. My goodness. You're freaking me out. Well, we got another depressing episode for you tonight. Have we hit rock bottom? No. There's always deeper to go, but, it'd be nice to have a little bounce, We'll black pill, but then we'll not black pill because black pilling is lame. We're not going to do that. We're not at all. Actually, there's some good news today. I'm about to use the word, let me see if I got this right. Mark Wayne? More than I've ever been happy to use. Like, all right, I'll admit it. I'm a bit of a, I don't know that the word's racist. Maybe. How about a local linguist? I'm really bad. Like, I grew up with names like Bob and Sarah. So on, as the world becomes more global, I'm very bad at pronouncing. And I'm always like, can't we just, I mean, my number one choice for the Republican primary was Vivek Ramaswamy. That sucks. That sucks to have to learn how to pronounce that name. But I did it. I put in the work for you all. Why can't we just have more American-sounding names? Mark, that's a good name. Wayne, that's a good name. Mark Wayne? Mark Wayne. I guess be careful what you wish for. What can I combine my name with? Like, I'm Rob. My son's Hank. Could I be Hank Rob? No. Yeah, Mark Wayne is super white, and I don't like it. So, there you have it. You know how they do all those bullshit studies that people cite? Like that one study people cite all the time to try to invert the truth. The real truth is, with any job worth a shit that's not an entry-level job, it's a benefit to be a minority, especially black. But they're always like, no, they did this one study where the only thing that changed was the name, and one was a white-sounding name and one was a black-sounding name. Really? What were the names they chose? Well, for the white name, they took Tim, and for the black name, they took Laqueef Shonda. Really? Laqueef Shonda didn't get a lot of callbacks. Maybe it has nothing to do with their color. Maybe it has more to do with the absurd-sounding name and what people assume. I would like to see Laqueef Shonda versus Mark Wayne. Now we're talking. There's a white name that I would question hiring. If I owned a small mom-and-pop shop, I don't know that I would hire a Mark Wayne. I'm just throwing that out there. I might be like, nah, I don't think so. Nope. Oh, because you're bigoted against hillbillies. I'm a hillbilly. I have some standards. Mark Wayne's a bit much.
Did you say avarice?
No.
Oh.
I said Mark Wayne?
I don't know. Someone said that you said avarice. I was like, what? I'm confused now.
No.
Well, then go on with the chlorophyll.
Okay, moving on. So, yeah. Mark Wayne! Laqueef Shonda's too long for a name or tag. Yeah, well, there you go. So we'll talk a little about Mark Wayne Mullins. Don't I hang with this? Jim Bob's a respectable redneck name. Jim Bob. That's better than Mark Wayne by a long shot. I'll go down with the ship with Jim Bob being a fine name. Mark Wayne sucks. Just throwing that out there. I have not met Shaniqua Wilson. Not yet. I'm sure she's about to file for alimony any day. No, not Mark Twain. Mark Twain's fine. You know what, Joe Bob Evans? I'm trying to think what the craziest name I know is. Gaylord. That'd be rough. Gaylord would be tough. I went to school with a kid named Richard Little, which you're like, oh, like the singer, Little Richard. Yeah, but about third or fourth grade, once you figure out that another way to shorten Richard is with the name Dick, being named Dick Little's not the happiest thing. You know, it's a bit unfortunate. I'm sure he's fine now as like a 40-year-old man, but as a 12-year-old, unfortunate name. Dick Little, not the best. Yeah, Anthony Weiner, and Weiner is the last name. We used to, when you would do debate tournaments, you had a school code. So what it was the school you were debating for, and then you and your partner's first letter of your last name. So my last name's Norm. We were Clarion HN. My partner's last name started with an H, so it's HN. So let's say we were debating Harvard. So it'd be like Clarion HN affirmative versus Harvard L Z, whatever. And then they named the judge. And there was, in the out rounds, you would have 3 judges. So in the regular tournament, you just have 1 judge. But once you get to the elimination, if you do good, you make it to the elimination rounds. So they'll say like Clarion HN versus Harvard BD with the judges Smith, Connolly, Wilson, And I remember one day, it wasn't my judge panel, but as they were announcing them, and I knew all 3 of these judges, the panel was like, Liberty University versus the Naval Academy. And the judges were Phil, the guy's last name was Phil Butts Wiener. Because the 2 other guys' last name were Butts and Wiener. And me and my partner snickered. No one else laughed. We thought it was funny. That's a pretty good panel. Phil Butts Wiener. I mean, it's not going to get much better than that. I'd have been like, no thanks. I'll pass on that one. I don't plan on filling any butts or wiener. No thanks. Yeah, who can forget that flight that went down? One of the greatest news commentary of all time, where their names were holy fuck. We do. It's horrible. People lost their lives, but yeah, I like to think those people were laughing about it in heaven. Bob, yeah. Couple other stories I have before we get into the news. I got 2 of them. One, this is a quick one. So I have this old man body now. Like things like this. I lift my arm. I don't know if you can hear this. It cracks like, it's just fucking my shoulder. I don't know what's going on. I get out of bed in the morning. It's like, sounds like the Tin Man before he gets the WD-40 on. It's like cracking all around. So I was like, let's get a little transhumanist, right? Can't they just put my brain in a body, like a robot that looks human, right? When can I get that so I won't be all creaky? So I was asking my wife, I was like, what do you think a good body would be for me? Because I want someone masculine, good looking. And I'm trying to think of like a celebrity. I don't know why. The only name I could come up with was, this is the celebrity that I want to look like. And preferably sound like. I chose Dom DeLuise. Which probably only 5% of the people watching know. Cannonball Run. Blazing Saddles, the great Dom DeLuise. Yeah, my wife did not want to be married to Dom DeLuise. Now, I know he's passed away, so I don't mean like a corpse Dom. I mean height of his day, Dom DeLuise. So there you go. That was my pick. And then the other story I have to tell. We took me and my wife went out with her mom for lunch the other day. We went to a local diner. And it was kind of empty, which I haven't been to this diner in a while. It used to be filled up pretty much every day, but it was a little empty. So they put us in this booth right next to like the only other booth with people in it. And as soon as I sit down, they were loud talkers. I couldn't get a look at them. I knew one was older. And it was the funniest conversation. They were way too loud. I don't mean like offensively loud. I mean loud enough that, you know, if you're trying to have a conversation, other people are going to hear in a quiet diner. And so as I sit down, I hear them saying like, I don't know why so many people listen to these like political commentators online. And I'm like, what's that? So I'm like eavesdropping. I'm like, interesting. And they're like, what's up with this Joe Rogan guy? What do you think? And they're like, well, we like Joe. And it took everything in my power to not be like, you know, I was mentioned on Joe Rogan's show. I don't know if you knew that. Like a week ago, I was mentioned. Now you're eating. If you want to pick up my lunch tab, I totally get it. Totally get it. Right? I was mentioned on Joe Rogan. So then they were just hemming and hawing about nothing, you know? And I think the conversation goes to religion. And this guy's like, you know, I don't know how arrogant these atheists are that think they know everything. Based. And he's like, I think they've never had like a paranormal experience. Something supernatural. And the other guy's like, oh. And he's like, you want to know what it was for me? And I'm like, oh, okay, I can't wait to hear this. And I'm just sitting there like my wife and her mom are talking to me. I'm just like, I'm just listening to this conversation behind me. And the dude's like, you know, about 15 years ago, I did a bunch of salvia. And he goes through this entire trip that he had. I was on this rainbow road and it led into this castle. And he just keeps going. He's mentioning names of his friends and how traumatic this trip was. And he's like, I was so afraid I couldn't move. But then I just gave in to the fear. And I'm like, it's like 15 minutes. This guy's just telling his buddy how high he was. He found God. Okay, buddy. So there you go. I've never heard of a person that, you know, I don't know, I guess maybe became religious after taking some salvia. But and then it was funny because you hear them, but I didn't get a chance to see them. So I'm like, okay, I gotta glance a look over and see what these two guys look like. And it was so funny because the guy that wasn't talking about tripping, he got up and left first, and the other guy must have went to the restroom. He was just an old man. He looked like he was like 68. But when the guy came out of the bathroom, the tripper, he looked like the type of guy that found Jesus through salvia. That's all I'll say. It was a good look. He had quite the long hair, scraggly ass beard. He looked, yeah. So there you have it. I was excited. I was like, oh. I almost stopped him on his way out the door. I was like, hey, man, I just want to let you know. I heard you talking about Joe Rogan. You may know me from being mentioned on Joe Rogan, so. Or maybe you're just tripping still. Maybe you're still on salvia. Yeah, I did keep my cool while we were in there. I was like, I'll tell you what that conversation was about when we get in the car. So, there you go. All right. Some little fun stories. Yay! Let's talk about politics. Who cares, right? We're going to transition into just a storytelling channel. I just come on and play stupid-ass whip songs. All right. Who, me? Am I the retard? Maybe. I'll take it. All right. Well, where to start today? Kristi Noem is out and Markwayne Mullins is in. So here's my feelings on Kristi Noem being out. Good, she sucks. Kristi Noem sucks. The only one remotely worth a shit dealing with any of the ICE stuff, at least in my opinion, is Tom Homan. Now, it's not that, what's the other guy's name? He's fine, I guess. I'm drawing a blank right now, but the ballbuster guy that was leading the charge in ICE and they moved him. But they can't win a narrative to save their life. They can't. They're terrible. Yeah, the Border Patrol guy, I can picture him. They're so bad. And Noem was the worst of the worst. Bovino, yeah. I'm so tired of her stupid little photo ops trying to look like a badass. Go fuck yourself. Like, she just didn't do a good job. And then, the nail in the coffin, it allegedly for her was, she's testifying the other day, and a lot of it's bullshit. Like, you got Tom Tillis there, like some fucking hard ass. Oh, I'm outraged. I'm outraged. By ICE, they detained this legal person. Then when he was talking to Mayorkas 4 years ago, it was like, thanks so much for your service, sir. Fuck you. You sacks of shit. Establishment Republicans that never wanted the border secure. But it was when Senator Kennedy was like, you spent $200 million on like ads for ICE? And then you start to realize, like, oh, you mean those shitty cosplay videos she was doing? That cost the taxpayer $200 million? And for what? Look, I'm not opposed to some degree to spending tax money to push for an institution. We're recruiting people to work for ICE. Fine. 200 million sounds like a big chunk of change, but okay, whatever. But shouldn't the adverts actually make people like the thing? Like, here's a little ad 101 for you, right? If you have a product and you pay an ad agency to make an ad for you, and it makes less people buy the product, you're fucking up. The whole point of the ad is to increase sales, or in this case, increase the image of. So the fact that Kristi Noem was spending that much money and was that bad, I mean, fuck, man, they could have gave me $50,000 and I could have made ads better for ICE than Kristi Noem and her incompetent shit. Hell, I'd do it for free. That's great, Jerez Bear. Glad you have questions, dude. Feel free to put them in the chat. We'll see if we get to them. So I'm not sad to see Kristi Noem go. I think she sucks. I think she's one in a long line of a certain type that Trump likes to put in positions of power. Yeah, like the Barbie type woman. Pam Bondi sucks, at least from a public relations aspect. But at least you could argue there are wins that they have gotten in court. Her team, I don't know about her, but her team have. She sucks, totally sucks when it comes to sort of articulating a narrative to the American people. But, okay, I'm willing to hear, like, yeah, but look, she assembled a team that won this case in front of the Supreme Court for Trump. And, okay. I still don't like Bondi, but fair enough. What has Kristi Noem done? She's terrible in front of the camera. Has she been instrumental in any successful policies coming out of ICE? Like, what has she done? She's an embarrassment. So I was not a Noem fan ever. Was Noem instrumental in closing the border? Was that Noem's idea? I don't know. Well, that's the issue. She's kind of hot. I think that's the extent of the thought that went into it. So she's replaced with Markwayne Mullin. Now, I'll be honest. I don't know a lot about him. I know him. I could pick him out when I watch a lot of congressional hearings. He sounds pretty good there. But as far as the actual policies voted on, I only know like what was easy to search today. But it's not someone like Lindsey Graham, who I know, Now, the first thing I'll say about Mr. Markwayne, his name sucks. All right, we already got that. I don't know why, and no, this is unfair. Again, maybe I'm racist again. Do I just think all white people look alike? Is that what it is? He gives me a little bit. This is so bad. I can't do Photoshop or something, or I would do this. Doesn't he have... He kind of reminds me of Dan Crenshaw a little. Is it just because he's a white guy with a beard? I mean, obviously, he doesn't have an eye patch, so... He kind of, I don't know. He's Indian? Is that true? Well, he looks white. Yeah, it might just be racist. Too much time talking with lefties. Now I'm like, All right, let's hear a little bit of what he says here in this clip.
He is the I'm not joking when I say this. He is probably one of the funniest men that you'd be around, and just normal. He's always poking fun at you. He's going to make fun at you just like I'm making fun at you. If you have horrible shoes on, he'll call you out on it. If you have a bad golf game, which I don't even play golf,
about Trump.
He'll remind you about it. He'll talk about your family, and if he knows that you have a need, he will try to meet it. He's the most caring guy too. What the picture that you see of him on TV is him caring, but you don't get to see the personal side of him. If you're in a meeting with him,
he mentions in there about Trump calling him and visiting when his young son, Markwayne's son, was in the hospital, which is kind of cool. But a check sheet of some of the stuff. I'm reading here. I'm looking for. He doesn't have a bachelor's degree. He's the only senator without a bachelor's degree because he actually worked for his dad, who was a plumber. He has. Here's him talking about the SAVE Act. Who passed away last night? Oh, Lou Holtz. That's a bummer. God bless you, Lou Holtz. Prayers to you and your family, man. All right.
Taking away the rights of people who might not have access to.
Okay, you can't get a bank account, you can't get a job, you can't lie, you can't get a loan, you can't buy tobacco, you can't buy alcohol, you can't even sign up for government benefits unless you have an ID. But somehow, when it comes to voting, it is going to limit the ability for people to vote, or they may not have an ID. And you're going, really? But these are the same people that wanted to move alcohol and tobacco from 18 to 21, and you had to show a proof of ID. I don't get it. You can't argue with crazy, but that's exactly what they sound like.
It sounds pretty based. And there's another story I was reading about him earlier, Rasmussen put out. I'll go through it real quick here. So they linked to this woman, Emma Robinson. A few weeks before the 2024 election, Senator Mullin and former Senator David Perdue finally arranged a meeting between Trump and Susie Wiles and Elon Musk in Mar-a-Lago. Wiles publicly said the election fraud was not real and that people thought so were crazy. After the briefing, she didn't know what to think. She asked for a piece of cake. She ate it slowly. Then Trump's team should be briefed too. In the end, the man stayed at Mar-a-Lago for 3 days to brief everyone. It was Elon Musk. Call was made. The man found himself in a room with Musk. Musk declined to sit through the full briefing. Just give me your data. So Musk read the summary of the data, and then he picked up the phone and made a call. We have a problem. It's true. That was October 17, 2024. He got on stage and attacked Dominion. Elon Musk said at the rally, there's always a question of Dominion voting machines, blah, blah, blah. How could 2024 still be stopped a few weeks before the election? The man who briefed had a team, Patrick Byrne and Gary Bernstein, recruited people. The group of whistleblowers were in Switzerland before the election. General Flynn was there. The whistleblowers flew in from Venezuela. Dominion IP address had been located. The relevant data and IP were now verified. Senator Mullin comes from the rescue again. Cybersecurity team got the data 3 days before the election. Dominion office in Serbia was hit. The computers were useless. On election day, nobody knew if the cybersecurity team had been successful knocking out Serbia computers, etc. So, I don't know what to think of all this shit. Point is, you're trying to ask a question of, is this guy going to be someone who's loyal? Is it someone that's going to, like, has policies that are like, you need voter ID? Is he someone who wants deportations? And he seems decent and hopefully more confident than Kristi Noem. Yeah, I remember he was trying to fistfight the union leader. I remember that. That was funny. So, tentatively, I say this is an upgrade. Now, possible downsides. The governor of his state now has to appoint a new senator to fill out the term. So if he was a decent senator, you might always get a piece of garbage. Now, the governor is a Republican, but that news of the day, I don't have much more to say about it. I think Kristi Noem will go down as basically any rising political stardom that she once had has been pissed away. I think she's been exposed as the job being too big for her, that it was all appearance. And I think you're likely to see her take a role outside of politics. Let me rephrase that. It will be in politics, but it will be for a media company or speaking engagements or something like that, as opposed to being a senator, being a congressperson, etc. That's my take on it. So I thought she was bad. Let's read some super chats real quick, shall we? Over on Rumble, flop in there, $20 says, thanks for your perspective, Rob. We appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Then over here on YouTube, we got Naughty Germans, always $5. Thank you so much, man. Chop Chop comes in with 10 gifted memberships. Thank you. And GG gifts one. Thank you so much. Hellstorm, $5 says, I once knew a guy, friend of my father, Peter 10 pound. Not so bad. Now imagine it in the phone book. Now imagine it in the prank call. Yeah. FTNY, $2 says, I wonder why he didn't pick Tom Homan to replace. Well, because he has Tom Homan doing other things, I guess. But maybe there's something there. Blasterbot, $20 says, I heard Candace Owens had a dream where a cyborg, time-traveling teenage Diplodocus came to her and said it was artificially created in Tel Aviv. Source? Trust me, bro. She learned it at the Xavier School for the Gifted. The Jabroni Big Time, 4 months, a member says, all Border Patrol Barbie knows is lip filler. She's good at that. Blasterbot, $2 says, Rob been hanging out with HN too much. Yeah, I can't tell white people apart. Don Lemon, thanks so much. $5 says, this time next year, Trump will be open the border, and by 2028, it'll be 2023 numbers. Maybe. Jordan Lofgren, $5 says, you should look at the language of the ballot measure we have here in VA on April 21st for redistricting. Have you stopped beating your wife strategy? I saw one of the things they were doing was putting signs up in red areas in Virginia with Trump's face on it, and it says, like, Trump said to take back elections, vote yes. So, like, implying that Trump wants rural people to vote yes on it. It's funny. Gravios, $5 says, can Christ's second coming happen already? I'm awful tired, boss. Hey, man. We're alive, aren't we? Every day you're alive's great. We can still have fun. So, we had that going. So we got the great Mark Wayne there now. In other based political news, sort of what Paxton came out last night, was like, listen, I'm not going to drop out even if Trump asks me. And then Trump responds with, man, that's not a good thing. Maybe I'll endorse his opponent. Fucking Trump. But then Paxton, in a very shrewd political move, basically releases a statement. It's like, listen, if they pass the SAVE Act, I would consider dropping out if that's what it takes. In other words, he's willing to say, I'll put my political future out there. I'll drop out. If the SAVE Act gets passed. Now, there's a question as to whether that's worth it. If it was literally the SAVE Act gets passed and implemented before the election, etc., maybe. But what's likely to happen is they'll say, sure, we'll bring it up for a vote, and then not end the filibuster, or even if they do, there won't be enough Republican votes to get it passed, and they'll say, hey, we did our part. We just said we'd bring it up for a vote. Not our fault. But the question becomes, even with an act that's that important, is it worth having a piece of shit establishment Republican in Texas for another 6 years in Senate? I don't know. I suppose from the outside perspective, if I'm not Ken Paxton, I'm like, sure, I'd take Cornyn if it guaranteed me the SAVE Act and forced voter ID all across the country, and it was implemented before the 2026 election. Sure. But I don't know. I think there'll be shenanigans, even if that does occur. What it is, though, is it's a very shrewd move by Paxton. Now, we talked about this yesterday, so I'm not going to relitigate the entire thing. But it's amazing that the Republicans know, the establishment Republicans know, it's no longer about running on their policies and their record. Not in a primary. They could do it against Democrat, because Democrats' policies are dog shit. No one likes them. The problem is, half the Republicans agree with the dog shit policies, or at least the spirit of them. And then the other half are incapable of, like, winning the argument with the American people. Or they're unlikable, or they can't overcome a bad news cycle. So they're not even trying to argue to Republican voters that, like, Cornyn's better. They just have one argument, which is, well, two. The first argument that you hear most of them making publicly is like, well, Cornyn would be better suited to win a general election. So they can't argue Cornyn represents the average beliefs of a Republican at this point better than Paxton. It's just not true. Now, as I talked about yesterday, I think they're full of shit. I don't think that Cornyn, all things equal, if there wasn't an intentional sabotage of Paxton if he wins, and the Republicans pushed for him just as they would Cornyn, I think Paxton wins as convincingly as Cornyn. In fact, he may be a better candidate in the general. But that leads us to number two. And number two is, they're basically like, well, listen, if Cornyn isn't endorsed by Trump, or he's asked to step down, or he doesn't win the primary, well, he's going to make his last 5-6 months in office a living hell. He'll be Tom Tillis. He's a lame duck and he don't like Trump, so he'll just, well, that to me is all the more reason not to elect the fucker. If that's what you're saying, well, if he doesn't get his way, then he's going to sabotage. Okay, well, what's he have to lose? This is probably, even if Cornyn wins, this is probably his last term in office. So if you're telling me, well, we have to embrace this shithead guy because otherwise he'll sabotage us, isn't he just going to sabotage us once he wins? And he has nothing to lose at that point? He's not going to run for re-election, so he'll be like, fuck it. I do whatever I want for 6 years. Nor prep debates are every other Thursday. So nope, no nor prep today debates. Next Thursday. I have a tough enough time trying to find opponents, let alone. So that's sort of the argument. So this is a very shrewd move by Paxton. Right? Because it makes him look magnanimous. Hey, for me, it's not just selfishly. There are policies that I want passed. And if that means I have to fall on my sword, fine. Here's the statement, by the way. You can read it yourself. From Paxton this morning, he says, the Save America Act is the most important bill the U.S. Senate could ever pass, and I'm committed to helping Trump get it done. I would consider dropping out of the race if the Senate leadership agrees to lift the filibuster and pass the SAVE Act. Cornyn is a coward who has refused to support abolishing the filibuster to pass this bill. Now, fake news reporters and the establishment are trying to destroy me with misinformation. The truth is clear. No one has been more loyal to Trump than me, fighting the stolen 2020 election, being in Mar-a-Lago when he announced his 2024 campaign, and standing with him in New York in the face of lawfare. For the good of our country and for the good of the passing president's agenda, I'm determined to help him get this done. It's an excellent statement. It really is. Now, you would think Cornyn would be like, that's great. Yes, absolutely. Let's do that. Let's call my good buddy Thune and get it done, right? You think that's what he'd say. Now, I looked all day today. I didn't see a response from Cornyn. Now, imagine right now that there's a bunch of people in Trump's ear. That Mike Johnson's in Trump's ear, and Cornyn's in Trump's ear, and Thune's in Trump's ear. I'd read, and I don't know if this is true, that Trump didn't check the statement. It was more Susie Wiles that sent out the statement that Trump would endorse one and want the other to back down. And the person I was reading said Trump was pissed once he saw the backlash on social media and wondered why Republican influencers didn't personally get a hold of him. Well, I must have lost your number, Trump, for one. But secondly, I don't know how much the people surrounding Trump allow sort of mainstream or downstream voices to get in. I think, and now we're going to start to get into the part of the show where talking about rock bottom. I don't think that the voices that have been the most loyal to Trump and have been the most MAGA are even getting through at this point. This is Lindsey Graham's administration. It's Mark Levin's administration. It's Ben Shapiro's administration. That's just the truth. That's what it looks like to me. And I don't even know if Trump knows it. I think those are the people Susie Wiles allows to have input, and that's that. And so when he's like, well, why didn't people talk to me about this? Because the people that you're listening to, whether it be it's the only people talking to you and you know it, or you don't know that they're keeping other voices out, that's not what they want. They like Cornyn. Yeah, it doesn't matter if Trump's kept in the dark against his will or he knows. It's the same. The blame's with him. Trump started his political career in 2015, 2016. We'll just say 16. He's president 4 years, president again, running for office, dealing with lawfare, dealing with politics since 2016. That's 10 years. I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy. Well, he just doesn't know how things work. That ship has sailed. He's made his bed. This is who he's chosen to listen to. Now listen, here's the deal. I'm not saying that everything chokes a little just fucking saying this. I'm not saying everything Lindsey Graham wants or Mark Levin wants or Ben Shapiro wants are things I disagree with. In other words, our interests may align from time to time. I also think Trump still is better than Kamala Harris would have been. But I think at this point, it's fair to say, unless there's some unforeseen radical change, and I'll give you a scenario that it could be, we're not going to get any swamp draining. We're not going to get anywhere near the level of deportations that people like me wanted. We're not going to get cutbacks on legal immigration like H-1B. In fact, they'll advance. That's just it. Now, I'll humble brag here for a minute. I had said that if Trump won, there's only about a 5% chance that he would do anything meaningful and lasting to really drain the swamp. It would be an uphill battle. I wouldn't think he would have the will for it or the want of it. And even if he did, I didn't think he would have the ability. And I think that that's where we find ourselves 1 year in. Could be worse, but for me, there was a brief, he puts RFK, and I'm like, that's a little anti-establishment. I like that. Brings in Elon with Doge. I'm like, all right. Oh, Wade, thank you so much, man. So for me, it was a little optimism, and then it's like, eh. Now, on the other hand, well, not on the other hand, like, to further go with this is exactly why I said that Trump was my third choice in the primary. For me, there was only 3 people that reasonably made sense. Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Donald Trump. And Vivek had basically no chance. So really, it was, the way it shook out, it was a race between DeSantis and Trump. But in reality, it wasn't really a race. Once Trump decided he was going to get back into it, there was already a 95% chance he was going to win. Once he got shot at, and the lawfare and the mugshot, it was like 99.9% chance he was going to win. So it really wasn't a race. I don't think Ron DeSantis ran a particularly good campaign. But even if he had ran a perfect campaign, I don't think it would have mattered. Too many things were going for Trump. But if I was analyzing it, here was my take on the 3. My first choice was Vivek Ramaswamy. Why did I choose Vivek? Because he was saying, for me, the best thing. Disband the FBI. 70% reduction in the federal workforce. I think that what he was prescribing had a better chance to drain the swamp than what Trump and DeSantis were. And that was my key issue. The downside of Vivek, and I said this at the time, was he might just outright be a lying bullshitter. Because I think Vivek's smart enough to know how to tell people what he thinks they want to hear. And looks like that may have been the case. Next, Ron DeSantis. I think DeSantis has been a tremendous governor in Florida. I really do. I think he's a little more centrist than me and than what Trump might seem to be. But he's very effective. Particularly when you see him pushing back against a corrupt media and getting common sense shit done. I thought he would have tried to some degree to rein in some abuses. I thought he would have. The downside of DeSantis was so many never Trump type neocons were surrounding him. And the question was, would they have had as much influence in his administration as it seemed that they did in his campaign? But still, I was like, yeah, all right. I'll take DeSantis. Then there was Trump. And the downside and the upside of Trump was the exact same thing. It was the exact same issue. And people just read it completely different. The downside of Trump was you had 4 years to drain the swamp, and you basically did dick all. You appointed a bunch of people from the swamp in your administration that then sabotaged you. Sorry, dude. You had your shot. But that was also the upside. People were like, but now he knows. Now he knows. He can play the game anymore. He knows who these people were. And I was like, I don't think so. Because even if you listen to him on the campaign trail, he'd say things like, dude, the FBI was out to fucking throw this dude's ass in prison the rest of his life. Maybe worse. And he's like, we're going to build them a big, beautiful new building. What the fuck are you talking about? It just seemed to me like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this guy learned his lesson. So, I think you're seeing exactly that. I think the truth is, Trump did not learn his lesson. Maybe this is who Trump always was. I don't know that. I tend to think that Trump meant well and was going to drain the swamp. Or at least had it's corrupt. Let's do some things about corruption. And just once he got involved, the people who took his ear were the very people that he should have been pushing back against. And I think that, excuse me, I'm sorry, my sinuses are draining here. The people that are, what's Trump's core issues? What do you think makes Trump tick? What do you think the issues that Trump really cares about? Like, just go ahead, spit some out. I'll be interested to see what people think. Being respected. Yeah. I meant like sort of policy. But sure, that's definitely. A border. I think that's an issue he cares about. Yeah. His legacy. Yeah. Hey, Abe. Thanks for the raid, my friend. Israel? Kind of. Foreign policy, yeah. Yeah, making deals, peace. China, yeah. Economy, tariffs. I think Trump cares more about foreign policy than he does domestic issues. That's what I think. I think he wants to be known as, have a legacy of a guy that did great things on the international stage. Great trade deals via tariffs. Ended great terror regimes. I think he really wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. I think he really did. Me personally, I could, if I was ever in a position where it was like, you're nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, I would honestly be like, I could not have less respect for that award. That literally means jack shit to me. I would be more impressed to win fucking Redneck Streamer of the Year award than the Nobel Peace. I don't give a shit. They gave it to Obama, who did dick all. It's just the New York Times type crew, the international crew, who I have no respect for, patting their buddies on the back. I don't give a shit. I hope those people hate me. Fuck them. But Trump, that shit still means something to him. What the New York Times says about him means something to him. What the cast of SNL says about him means something to him. What Hollywood says about him means something to him. And I'll never get it. Whatever it is in him that is the trait that does that is what allowed him to have the sort of personality to win an election in the first place, which I'll never be in that position. And I understand that it's easy for me to sit in the sideline and say, what are you doing? But that's who he is. So Trump cared about the border, and he's like, yeah, we got the border. Not a lot of people are coming in now, and we'll go after the bads, like the murderers and whatever. Okay, I believe he wants that. And he's like, problem solved. Now let's deal with foreign policy. And the business interests are like, well, Trump. About these deportations, it's too much. And it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone because we've seen these comments. What's this, the fourth time we've seen them come out of Trump's mouth? So here he was today.
Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people who are getting out. And we have a lot of heart. They said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all. And we're looking to get the criminals out right now, the criminals. And I think it's very important. I mean, every once in a while you see a story, we take somebody. He should be out because they came in illegally. So in theory, they should be. But we're focused on the murderers, the drug dealers, the mentally insane. We have a lot of mentally insane killers. I mean, you can't even talk to them. It'd be nice if you could have a little reason, but you can't even reason. These are seriously ill people. You have a couple of...
You get the idea. Now listen, what he's saying, technically, if you think about it, I get it. If you lined up 5 illegals and said we can only deport 3 of them, and this one's a murderer, and this one's a drug trafficker, and this one stole $1 million from a bank, and this one's a landscaper, and this one's a maid. Yeah, I'd leave the landscaper and maid stay. Got it. I get that. But it's the way in which he says it, where you can intuit. And here's the thing. I think I've said this about Trump for a long time. I can't take credit for it. There was some, I wish I remembered the woman's name, but during Trump's first term, it was this woman that worked, I think she worked for KDKA, Pittsburgh news station. And it sort of went national when she said this, and it's absolutely right. She's like, see, the thing is, like, Trump supporters take what Trump means when he says something. But Trump detractors take the literal thing that he says. And I understand both perspectives. So the famous example I give is, I was watching this dude on Fox News one night. It's on Hannity or some shit, or Tucker's show. This was in Trump's first term. And he's talking about no-go zones in Sweden. And he's like, grenade attacks in Sweden now. That was unthinkable 5 years ago. Grenade attacks on the streets of Sweden. And the next day, Trump's like talking to the press, and he's like, last night there was a grenade attack in Sweden. And it's getting out of control in Sweden, these no-go zones, blah, blah, blah. Now, quite literally, Trump's wrong. And it's fine for Democrats to say, what are you talking about, Trump? There was no grenade attack last night. And I know what happened. He was watching Fox News and heard the dude talking about grenade attacks and didn't realize they weren't saying there was an attack today, but these attacks are occurring. But instead of the Democrats just saying Trump's wrong on the details, they were like, not only did that not happen, but it's absolute bullshit to say that there's a problem with Islam in Sweden and there's no-go zones. Well, actually, that's not true. There is a significant problem. So the Trump supporters are like, we understand, even if he's wrong on the literal words that came out of his mouth, the spirit of what he's saying, we get it. So I understand here, and that's what I'm still doing. Like, the literal words that Trump's saying here could all be true. Yeah, we want to get rid of the worst first. But it's the tone and the timing. Is there any way to read this other than he ain't going to deport the fucking maid? Is there any way to read it other than that? Listen.
Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people who are getting out. And we have a lot of heart. I said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all.
Is there any way to read that other than, yeah, we're not going to deport those people? Now, I know that this is what the diehard, never criticize Trump supporters are going to say. They're going to highlight this portion.
And we're looking to get the criminals out right now, the criminals. And I think it's very important. I mean, every once in a while you see a story, we take somebody. He should be out because they came in illegally. So in theory, they should be. But we're focused on the murderers.
That's what, see, he said they should be out. He said they should be out. We're just focused on the murderers right now. That's what they'll say. But it is clear that Trump's like, I like these people. And the reason is, here's the deal. I'll tell you exactly why this has happened. Because so many people, business people that Trump has positive relationships with, that employ illegal immigrants, got to Trump. Remember the first statement he gave about this months ago? Where he's like, oh, you know, I'm talking to some of these farmers, and they said when you deport these people that they've hired, then you bring in people that are worse, the real bad hombres. And my response to that was, oh, so you talk to people, business leaders that were telling you that they intentionally hire illegals? Yeah, why aren't they in handcuffs? Throw them in jail. But businessman Trump's like, oh, yeah, okay, good people. Now, it's my recollection, and I could be wrong, that this is basically the fourth time that Trump has told us, damn near as clear as possible, you ain't going to see deportations of these people. The fourth time. The first was, Trump didn't say it, but there was like a story that came out that was like, Trump's administration regrets some of the deportations from hardworking people that are nonviolent that are working at these jobs. Then remember, like a few days later, who was it came out? Like Scott Bessent or something came out and was like, oh, no, we're still deporting. But you were like, Then Trump gave that speech where he was like, oh, you know, some of these are good people and we kick them out, they're bringing in the bad hombres. That's number 2. Then he gave that speech about, I went to a battery plant and I saw these immigrants working for these batteries that we need, and they're great people. That was number 3. Now we have this. These are not flippant statements in the moment. This is what Trump believes. It ain't happening. There's not going to be mass deportations of illegals unless they've committed serious crimes. And even then, Trump looks at the issue as settled. Yes, he wants more cooperation with ICE to deport illegal criminals. Let me rephrase that. Illegal criminals that have committed really heinous crimes. But other than that, he's like, I've secured the border. Sure, I want it enshrined in law, but it's secure. And now he's just like, GDP, baby. Stock market, baby. That's how they look at it. Now it's all about, foreign policy shit. And can't you just hear that little fucking worm, Lindsey Graham, in Trump's ear? Mr. Trump, you've done an amazing job on the border. It's amazing. I was worried we were going to have to continue to write strongly worded letters if you didn't win, but you won and you secured that border, and you're doing an amazing job. And God bless you. Keep pushing to get these Democrats to cooperate, to get out the worst of these illegals. The important thing now for your legacy is we focus on foreign policy. We need to end this conflict in Israel and Gaza. We need to make sure that Ukraine's getting more munitions. They're able to fight back against our geopolitical rival, China. We need to encircle China. That means we got to stop the corruption that's occurring in Venezuela and take out the terrible Iranian regime. That's where your lasting legacy. You're going to do something that no president before you, none of your predecessors could do, and you're going to do it. And he's like, yeah, great. And that's what it is. Now, you might, Rampage likes Lindsey Graham. Great. But you're right. Fine. There are a lot of people that voted for Trump that absolutely wanted conflict with Iran, absolutely wanted Maduro deposed. They're getting what they want. I am not naive. I understand that there was a broad coalition of people that elected Trump. There was his core base, sort of the populist drain the swamp. There's the Maha people, the RFK people, the Tulsi Gabbard people, the neocon people, the tech bros people. There's the former centrist lefties that just think the Democrat Party's gone insane. A lot of protest over COVID policies, shit like that. There's the libertarian wing. So I get it. If If Trump's foreign policy was more the Dave Smith brand or the Tucker Carlson brand, Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham and Ben Shapiro would be furious. If it's the Mark Levin foreign policy, Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson, they're going to be furious. I get it. There were members of this coalition that on specific issues were diametrically opposed. So someone's going to be upset. I understand that. I'm not naive. I don't think that the president was obligated to 100% agree with Rob Noerr and only the policies that Rob Noerr wants. Now, we'd be far better off, but you get the point. But I also understand from my perspective and from many of these people in that coalition's perspective, what the fuck has Trump done for them? If you're being as honest as possible, I don't think you could take away the following things. He secured the border much quicker than anticipated. And when you look at what it was under Biden to what it is under Trump, that's an achievement. Now, it's a hollow achievement because even if we never got one more illegal in, if we don't have significant deportations, it's probably too late. The image of the country will be remade. Demographics are destiny. You can predict where this goes 20 years from now. But that's a plus. Whatever you thought of the operation in Venezuela was fucking effective. It was smooth. Even if you didn't like it, it happened fast. And there's a lot of economic news, I think, that's positive, though there's a lot of asterisks next to it. But man, if you're a neocon, what's there not to like about this? I mean, I guess the neocons probably don't like that Trump secured the border. They probably want an open border. But other than that, all the foreign policy shit, neocons have to love. We're still funding Ukraine. They were worried about that. Don't worry. Didn't care that. Love the Venezuela action. Love the Iran actions. I mean, they're getting pretty much everything they want. This has to be, for the average Dick Cheney supporter, I mean, you got to be like John Bolton's got to be like, hot damn. Looking good. And at some point you're like, but these people fucking hated you, Trump. They hated you. They still hate you. By the way, they still do. They hate him. They fucking hate him. And Bolton wasn't a fan of the Iran attack. I find that hard to believe. He might not have liked the way it was carried out, but oh, really? They condemn the attacks? Well, my guess is they want the attacks to be more boots on the ground, would be my guess. Now, do I still think that Trump was better than Kamala? Yes. Better than Biden? Of course. But as I said yesterday, I understand the blackpilling. I'm not blackpilling, but I understand it. I understand where Nick Fuentes is coming from, somewhat, and the people like him. I get it. Now, Nick's hyper-focused on Israel. By the way, let me take a moment to say this. I saw one of the comments my great editor, Black Elk, put up last Thursday. I debated a guy on Christian nationalism and then an elderly lady afterwards. So 2 comments on that. One person commented that I was too rude to the elderly lady. I appreciate your tone policing. I don't know. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. I was frustrated after fucking 10 hours of dealing with morons, so whatever. Sorry to disappoint you. Ironically, that guy then called me a dick. It's like, but isn't, never mind. And then the other thing, this criticism a little more interesting. Why don't I actually talk to people that are knowledgeable that hate Israel? Sure, I'll talk to them. Who? Okay, it's not like I set a debate up with that woman over Israel. It wasn't the topic at all. That's 2 times in the past week where, like, I don't know. Maybe I just think of things differently. More than 2 times, actually. Sat and prayed 4 times in the past week where I'll be talking to someone, and it might even be an issue that I agree with them overall on the issue. But they'll make a specific claim, and I'll be like, well, I don't know about that specific claim. And then the person I'm dealing with is like, how could you take this side? For example, I said, look, in Israel, right? She says, if you have an official state religion, no one else is allowed to practice their religion. I was like, I don't think that's true. I think there's many Arab nations that are Islamic, but you could practice other faiths. I think in Israel, you could be a Christian or Muslim. Now, you might not have as many rights. You might be looked down upon, but it's not straight up illegal to practice that faith. And that turns into like, oh, so you're saying that's okay, how they treat Christians. Oh, you're a Zionist. What are you talking about? I saw my man, I see you in the chat there, Cool Vic. My man, Cool Vic, he put here, I'll find it. I saw this comment. I get bored sometimes. I'm laying in bed at night and I've exhausted social media. So I'll be like, I'm going to check out some friends of mine, see what their channels are up to. And I'll be honest, because of the way the Crucible does stuff, I understand why they do it, right? Where they put everything on their own website because they get mass reported and shit. I end up finding more like debates with answer debating people on channels like Cool Vic's or on Jake Rattlesnakes because I'm just late at night scrolling through. So I saw Cool Vic put up part of me debating that Nick guy from last Thursday. Check out the video. Here it is. And my concern after that Nick debate was... Oh, 1 second. We'll forget that. We'll deal with that later. My concern with that whole debate was that guy was so dumb. I didn't know if the audience was... If the audience understood what I was trying to say because of the constant interruptions and he was so stupid. So I was like, I wonder what some of the people thought. And here's one of the comments was this guy that called into the show the other day, this Stu guy. And again, another example of exactly what he says, I can't do Rob anymore. I asked him why he believes the Trump administration after the Epstein files issue. He did. He said, why do you believe them? He specifically said, why do you believe like the Trump administration after like Kash Patel lied under oath? And I said, how did he lie? What was the specific lie? But notice he disclosed that. He continues. He would not answer. Instead, he asserted Kash Patel didn't lie under oath for an hour. Do you think I brought that up out of nowhere? Or do you think I said... Where's the lie? Because he said there was a lie. Then he says, then he did a fake ass recap rather than answer basic questions. He then insisted there were no other conspirators in the Epstein case other than Epstein. It's not what I said. So he's willing to pretend and believe that Epstein alone trafficked all the children, including scouting and coercing them. Love your channel, Vic, but Rob is bad faith. My new favorite thing is when he spurgs out and yells loudly like a woman. Respect to you and best of luck. Well, I think it sounds like a woman thing to go onto someone else's channel and bitch about a debate you lost. Personally, that sounds like something a woman would do. But I only bring it up. I don't really give a shit about this person or about the Nick or the elderly lady that I debated last Thursday. But there's a lot of that occurs. You'll talk about something specific. Well, Kash Patel lied under oath. Really? Can you show me? Yeah, here's the clip. See? He was asked an open-ended question, and he responded with a date. You remember that? And I was like, what are you talking about? That's not a lie. The question from Kennedy was, did Epstein traffic underagers to himself? And Kash Patel's like, yes. In fact, that's what the indictment in 2019 was over. And once I point out, like, that's stupid, that's not a lie, he's just all over the place. But what about this? What about this? What about this? And then when we go through each and everything he's saying, and I'm like, no, wait, no. Where's your proof that there was a lie? Okay, you have proof that he trafficked children to someone else? It was released in the 3 million Epstein files? Great. Can you show me in those files? Absolutely. By the way, I'm still open to seeing that. Absolutely. Absolutely open to seeing it. And the problem is, every time you give someone the chance, they're just like, ha ha, you're defending PDFs. Ha ha, you're lazy. You didn't read it. Okay, man, just show me the file. Clearly you've read it. And then what did he say? Well, I assume it's in the redacted portions. Okay, but that's different than your opening statement that you saw Kash Patel lie because he said that and then the files came out that proved him wrong. Really what you're saying is, I think Patel's full of shit. I haven't seen anything in the files to dispense with that, but maybe Patel destroyed the files or maybe he has them redacted, but I don't believe him. That's fair. That's a fair opinion. But if you're going to say, I've seen the evidence, great. I'm looking for that myself. Can you show me? Oh, fuck you. You're saying there were no co-conspirators? I didn't say that. Oh, yeah, we already talked about Mark Wayne. But this happens all the time. For example, if someone says, well, it would have to be if you had an official state religion that no other religions would be allowed to be practiced. And if I'm like, that's not true, there's other countries like maybe the United Arab Emirates. Oh, so you support the UAE? I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. I said, your specific claim is incorrect. There are other countries that show that. So you're saying the UAE is a good country religiously? I didn't say that. And then those people run around like, Rob's a big fucking caliphate fan. What are you talking about? Anyways, I thought it was interesting. So oftentimes then, the reason I bring this up is when you're criticizing Trump or when you're praising Trump or whatever, people oftentimes think that when you're talking about a very specific issue, that this is your complete and total feelings on the overarching broad scale of what's going on. So for example, when I'm like, look, is there hypothetical evidence that would come out that would make me say, okay, yeah, I think the attacking Iran was a good idea? Of course. I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen that, but it could exist, and it's worth talking about what that might look like. But as soon as I say that, everyone flies off the handle. Oh, Rob's saying the Iran attack, he's in favor. I didn't say that. In fact, I said the opposite. I don't like it. You know? Or, like, there are people, this idea that it's like, Rob's running from, you know, he's a big Zionist. He'll only talk to people about Israel that are idiots. Who? Like, tell me who to talk to. Now, I would even talk to Fuentes, though I wouldn't do it on YouTube. But I would do it in Rumble. Jay Dyer? I'll talk to Jay Dyer. No problem. I've never told those people, fuck off, you're wrong. I've said, I think that a lot of those people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they're so anti-Israel that that's just their simple answer to everything. Anytime something happened to Israel, but it's very similar to like the pushback Andrew gets. And by the way, Charlie Kirk got this pushback. Why don't you debate better people? Who? Sure, I would love that. That's what they always say to you. You're only talking to OnlyFans chicks. Okay, do you want to debate? Do you have someone that wants to debate? No? Okay. And with the Israel stuff, it wouldn't even really be a debate because I'm open to hearing it. I believe that Israel definitely wanted us to attack, and I believe that had an influence. I just am not so certain that means that Israel influences every policy that we have, or that there's not potential reasons that people would have outside of just what Israel wants. including Trump. I think there's room for saying I'm hypercritical of a country like Israel. I also don't think that means the people on the left that are critical of a country like Israel have my best interest. That doesn't mean the Iranian regime is good. That doesn't mean that there's no arguments for why ending the Iranian regime couldn't be a good thing outside the scope of why it's just good for Israel, etc. It's nuanced. And oftentimes what I see is people are like, no, Israel good all the time. Biblically, we have to do whatever they want, which is stupid and bullshit. Or I hear the opposite. Israel's always bad. I've had people call into my show and tell me that they like Rachel Wilson, but she needs to be kicked out of the country because she might have 1/32nd Jewish blood. Man, that's fucking insane. Oh, trams, I promise I'll get to that. That's amazing news. So, the other thing I want to talk about with Trump in this, and then I promise we'll get to super chats, is the timing of it. First off, on the timing of the attack. Now, here's why it was so important and why I was trying to put my hat on. Like, my gut feeling is this attack happens. What happened the last two times the United States attacked? I immediately came on the show and was like, fuck this. The original Iran attack in Venezuela. Both of them. Right? So this time I said, I don't like this, but let's take a second and say, what may it look like? What would be the best case for this if the evidence said? Of course, a bunch of people didn't want to hear it. And then I spent the next 2 days saying, here's why I don't buy that argument. But one of the reasons I think that's important is the position I'm in today, which is like, let's say, I've reached out, I'm going to try to reach out to Dave Smith. Because I 60 to 70% agree with him. But there are questions I have. Like, here's a question I would ask Dave Smith. Hypothetically, if Iran enriched to 60%, and hypothetically, if that meant they were a month or shorter out of getting a nuclear weapon if they wanted one, would that justify an attack? Well, what do you all think? Now, I think clearly, if the best evidence that was true and believable was that they were going to get a weapon and then attack the United States, of course. But what if not? What if it's just like, well, they're at 60% and we don't have evidence of what they would do? Would it justify an attack? No, I didn't see him versus Adam Coleman. My guess is he would say no. Yeah, they have a right to the bomb or to enrichment. So no, it wouldn't justify an attack. I don't know. I'm open to hearing. Because a lot of Dave's argument's going to be like, but the U.S. has a bomb and Israel has a bomb and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, Dave, I'm sorry. You might not want to hear this, dude, but, let me use an analogy, right, that maybe my redneck friends will understand. Have you ever been to a bar with like a group of friends and your one friend's being an asshole, right? And then he gets the shit kicked out of him? What do you do? Now, it depends on the situation. Sometimes you might be like, hey, I'm sorry about your luck. But most of the time, what do you do? Even if it was your friend that was being an asshole. What do? You're out the bar, it's four guys. One of your buds starts talking shit. Someone fucking reaches across the bar, smacks him in the face, starts putting the boots to him. What do? You're fighting. That's what you're doing. That's your boy. You know he's the asshole. You know he started it, but it's your boy. That's it, man. Yeah, I know. I fucking bitch about U.S. foreign policy all the time. We're the U.S. Fuck you. I'll try to handle stuff from the inside. But that doesn't mean because I don't like the foreign policy that people in unelected bureaucrats have done in this country over the past 30 years, that I should be obligated to allow another country in the name of their perceived defense and their perceived injustices to build up terrorists or nuclear weapons or something that would potentially threaten me or my friends that are in the military, etc. Sorry. But if it was about total justice and whatever, isn't what the U.S. did technically worse to them than what they're doing to us? Maybe. I don't give a fuck. Or at least I care to the point where I'm trying to stop that bad shit from happening. So if there's an administration out there that's chanting death to America and we want to kill Donald Trump and they're 60% of the way to a bomb, I don't know. Yeah, but they have reason to say that. Maybe, and yet. Just like my asshole friend, I'm going to have my guys back. I'm going to say, nah, fuck off. Right? But it's a complicated question. It really is. The reason I don't think this helps, let's say that evidence exists, that they were 60% enrichment. And look, it's not just the USA that said that. Even after the U.S. dropped out of the Paris Climate Accords, the Iranian nuclear deal, my understanding is the IAEA and other European countries all checked and said, yeah, they're at 60%. Now, that might be bullshit. Could be. I would not put it past the international community to lie about something like that, but that's what's been said. But my question is still, why now? And this, to me, is why I criticize Trump. Why now? Now, if the case is made, we had intel that they were about to attack Americans. That's different. Again, your mileage may vary. I'm not going to believe that just on face value. Fuck you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 483 times. But hypothetically, if that evidence exists, and that was something that was happening, then the timing makes sense. Rubio said the reason was Israel was about to attack, and Iran was going to strike back at U.S. interests once Israel attacked. Now, you may or may not think that's justification to preemptively attack, but I would say that probably would have happened, seeing as how Iran just went nuts and attacked a bunch of Arab countries too. So I can't see a world where they would have been like, oh, but we'll leave U.S. bases alone. I don't know. But okay, whatever. But I'm just trying to make the case for like, okay, why someone like me would be like, all right, I can support this attack based on what I know right now. I have not seen that evidence that suggests that there was an imminent attack other than Rubio's one statement, which is just a statement and not evidence. Even that's flimsy. So the question becomes, why now? Yesterday, I outlined the case for why didn't Trump use this attack as a bargaining chip for neocons to get the SAVE Act passed? You want us to do something about Iran? We're on the fence. We want things too. We want domestic agenda, SAVE Act passed. But let's look a little beyond the scope of that. If the argument's just, well, they were at 60% enrichment, which they've been for like 7 years. If you didn't have specific evidence that something imminently was going to change and be a threat, why not deal with this like a year from now? What was the harm? Core parts of your economic agenda have just been gutted. The tariffs. The deportations are shaky at best. The SAVE Act that you're claiming to really want, it's not getting done. Did he think this would be massively popular? That this would help their agenda going into the midterms? Did he think this would somehow increase his political capital to be able to push for agendas elsewhere that he wanted? And then here's what's crazy. Now, you might be like, come on, Rob, stretching. Fine. Okay. Great. You don't have to take my stance on this. Okay, fine. Those of you that think that, though, will you at least admit this? If Trump endorses Cornyn over Paxton, that would piss off many of the same people that are shaky on this Iran attack. Would you all agree with that? Wouldn't you say that's likely to be the case? Chances are a Cornyn supporter would be more likely to favor the Iran attack than a Paxton supporter. Seems fair, right? I don't think that's controversial to say. Trump endorsing Cornyn, probably the type of people that would be upset about that, probably tend to be the type of people that would be upset about the bombing of Iran. Populists, drain the swamp type people. I don't think that's controversial. Now, Trump hasn't endorsed Cornyn yet, but it seems that's the direction it's going. And then, the next day, the very next day after that, he says this.
Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people who are getting out. And we have a lot of heart. They said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all.
It's almost like he's throwing fuel on the fire, right? That's what it feels like. It feels like he's like, and fuck you again. Populist base, go fuck yourself. You didn't like the Iran attack? How you like John Cornyn? Oh, you don't like that? How you like me telling you to lighten up about deportations? How about that? That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like he's like, look, I have a broad coalition. They want varying things. Some of them, their big priorities, deportation. Some of them, their big priorities, the SAVE Act. Some of them, their big priorities dealing with Iran. We'll try to balance that out. Instead, what it sounds like, it's like, I like the neocon people. And so I'm going to do a policy that sort of spits in the face the populist people and embraces the neocons. And then I'm going to endorse Cornyn. It hasn't happened yet, but that seems to be where it's gone, which will spit in the face of the populist people and embrace the neocons. And then I'm going to tell the populist people, you need to lighten up when it comes to wanting people that are working on, illegals that are working on farms and shit to be deported, which is a slap in the face to them again. What next? There was this story earlier today where originally one of his posts from social media outlined past the SAVE Act, blah, blah, blah. And the last thing was like, no more transition surgeries for children unless the parents consent. And the fucking populist base went nuts. Unless the parents consent? What the fuck are you talking about? So, what's the explanation? Lobster says, I don't think the MAGA base can do anything right now. As long as he doesn't run for a third term, what do the populists have? They're not going to turn out for the midterms. That's what's going to happen. You could only tell people so much, so many times, hey man, trust me, we'll get around to your shit in a couple decades. Don't worry about it. The other side's worse, other side's worse, other side's worse. That only goes so far. So, there's several possibilities. And let's not forget, look, as much as I shit on it, I'm going to get a drink here. We'll take a break. Don't forget my thoughts on this very important issue. You're right, whoever you are that's worried about this is the only issue that ever matters, and my entire show should be in perpetuity me talking about Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. So if what you could do is replay this 1 minute over and over again, you can see me say Trump's really bad for how he's handling the Epstein thing, and we should criticize him with every waking breath that we ever have. Don't worry about feeding your family. Don't worry about supporting them. Don't worry about taking care of yourself whatsoever. All that matters is Trump Epstein. So you join me in saying Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein. There you go. That's 55 seconds. The minute will be complete here soon. Please put that in replay for the rest of the show. Thank you. Now, funny, and it does annoy the piss out of me, but the truth is, it don't matter how fucking smart I think I am. Truth be told, I'm a fucking idiot. I think I have good political instincts, and I'm a good debater and a good talker, but I'm really dumb at a lot of things in life. It's just true, right? But it wouldn't matter anyways. I can't control how other people vote. And the truth is, the way that Trump handled the Epstein files initially was one of the biggest unforced political errors I've ever seen. Even if the fucking guy's guilty! Even if he personally was sleeping with children on Epstein Island, which I've seen no proof for. But even if he was, the way he handled it was so stupid. Oh, it's all a hoax. And if you don't believe that, then don't support me anymore. Here's a little tip. If you're ever in politics, don't tell groups of people to not support you. Ever. Particularly your own base. That's stupid. Because they might say, okay, sure, I'll take you up on that. It doesn't matter. You might think, look, Trump didn't do shit with Epstein. That's all blown out of proportion, blah, blah, blah. Could be. However, the way he handled that optically, there are people that he lost and will never come back. It might not be a huge chunk, but they're there. I talked to them in real life. I know at least 2 people, diehard Trump supporters, like, I'll never fucking vote for that guy. I'm done voting. There you go. Now, it's anecdotal. There's polling on it as well, but truth be told, a lot of people's convictions are short-term. I also knew a lot of people that told me they'd never watch the NFL again after Kaepernick. And I could go to my local bar every Sunday during football season and see them sitting there again. But that's the truth. Now, at some point, it doesn't matter how articulately someone could explain, listen, man, you have to keep getting out there and voting because the Democrats are so fucking horrible and we are literally on a cusp. They just let in 10 million people. Look at the United Kingdom. Look at what they're doing. Look at Minneapolis. Look at what they tried to do last time, locking up their opponents, disinformation boards, censoring people online. Look at what they did with COVID. It's going to get worse. We need to do something now. And even if the people in charge right now aren't the best, at least it's somewhat of a stalemate. That's not going to matter if someone goes, fuck you. I think this is just the Israel administration. I don't care. I'm not voting for them. Or I'm going to vote Democrat. Fuck you. I think they're covering up Epstein. There's nothing you could say that would make me ever support those people. It doesn't matter if you think that's fair or not. What I'm telling you is that's what people in Trump's base believe. Not all of them, but some of them. And so what's shocking to me is, why is no one in Trump's administration making a fucking inroads to talking to those people? Look, this might be a week you don't really like. Let's try to explain to you why we had to tuck Iran again. Don't worry. SAVE Act's coming. More deportations coming. Instead, we get Trump, hey, they need to lighten up. Oh, you're concerned? You're not getting what you want? You're the problem. Lighten up. Okay. I think Trump had a lot of goodwill after that State of the Union. I think it was a good speech. I think the agenda that he outlined, particularly the domestic agenda, I think it's popular. That's a bunch of 80-20 issues. Let's end insider trading, laws for insider trading with Congress. Yes. SAVE Act. Yes. All this crazy trans bullshit. Let's try to end that. Yes. Good stuff. Look, the economic agenda, we're going to try to get tariffs back. People are on the fence about that, but look, things are looking good. Borders secure. Great. And then what's it been since the State of the Union? All foreign policy. So why is Trump, like, there's the question of why attack now? And I understand there could be reasons. There was an attack that was imminent because it's about a time frame of when we need to harm China and help the economy by opening up the Strait of Hormuz and all that. Okay, I get it. There's arguments. But most of it, it's like, I feel like you could have held off a little to get some more domestic shit done to kind of alleviate the anger from one side of your base. But then even if not, okay. If not now, then when? How about after the midterms? How about 3 months from now? How about after the SAVE Act? How about after more mass deportations? How about then? What's the next argument to truth? When are we going to depose Cuba? If not now, then when? It's funny. We keep being told we had to do it now. We had to take this action now. Okay, how about the SAVE Act? That seems really important. Can we do that now? Well, we don't have the time for that. We can always get to that in a decade or two from now. Don't worry about it. All of those things can happen, and yet they're not. One of the worst arguments ever. People could walk and chew gum. We could do that. We could bomb Iran and do mass deportations and pass the SAVE Act. Yeah, we've been told that shit for 20 years. Nothing ever happens. Border keeps getting more and more open. More and more illegals come in. Size of the government was getting bigger and bigger. Corruption going up and up. Waste, spending, fraud, up and up and up. And every time you bring it up, like, why aren't we focused on this shit? Why is it always foreign policy? We're like, we could do both, but we're not. We're always told we had to do the foreign policy thing right now. If not now, then when? Okay. It's not about conflating Trump and Thune, so I'm not going to rehash it all, but if you go and watch the video yesterday, Trump could use his political capital to put pressure on the senators. He could do that. He's choosing not to. Instead, he's choosing to play buddies with them and give them everything they want as they laugh in his fucking face and give him nothing that he wants. That's why he's going to endorse Cornyn, who's been one of the biggest thorns on his side. No, he hasn't. Trump could be out there every day saying, this is Thune. Here's the guy we have that's going to primary him next time. Here's how shitty he is. Here's these fuckers. Here, every one of them. He could be out there every day. I'm going to veto every motherfucking bill they send to my desk until the SAVE Act comes up for a vote. Every one. He could do that. But he hasn't. He hasn't at all. He puts out some posts on Truth Social. I have considered giving Trump my timeline. Susie Wiles won't send it to him, though, so maybe I'll get a hold of Mark Levin and he could fucking tell him. See? By the way, why is it always these people are always all caps? What is that? I'll never understand it. Like, you could almost guess. If I was like, okay, here's 3 potential positions. Guess which one will be all caps. You'd probably be able to guess the guy that was saying, well, we just have to embrace the wars. That's all we could do. We have to do them now. If not now, then when? And all the domestic shit, Trump's hands are tied. He can't do anything. It'd be good for the Dems if he had to fight with the Republicans. So, you can almost guess. Yeah, that guy's probably all caps. Yeah, probably. It doesn't really bother me. I always just find it interesting. You do it to trigger people. It is fun to trigger people, right? Enjoy that time out. I hope you're not triggered by it. I'm just triggering you a little. No big deal, right? So at some point, it's like, I don't understand. So why could it be? Why could it be that Trump's doing this? Well, it could be he just don't give a fuck. This is who he is. He don't give a shit about the populace. I think there's a solid chance, and maybe the most likely scenario is this. Trump's like, listen, populist, I'm so much better than anyone else you've ever had. Why aren't you grateful to me? At this point, just shut up and trust me and go along for the ride. I know what's best. Shut your mouth. I'm the best you're going to get. I think that's a lot. That's probably the best, most likely scenario. There are other scenarios. He could just be tone deaf and he has no fucking clue. Guess that's possible. Maybe it's like, look, there's a bunch of stuff I don't like about the populist wing. Let's get it all out now. The sooner the better. You're an idiot on the Epstein stuff. We're not going to do the mass deportations. We are going to bomb Iran. I'm going to embrace Cornyn. There, get it all out now. Now, 6-7 months from now, when it's time for midterms, this will be old news. It's possible. I mean, again, I don't know how many more times I could explain it. Go watch yesterday's show. We did a whole show on things Trump could do. Trump has political capital. I don't understand why people think that Trump's just meek as a mouse. He could literally put the spotlight on Thune and anyone else that he wanted. He spends more time attacking Thomas Massie than he does Thune and the people that are instrumental in making sure that his agenda never gets put up in the Senate. Why? He could flat out refuse to sign anything that comes. You gonna pass a budget? Fuck you, I ain't signing it. Nope. Save Act now. Or I veto everything. Good luck. If you can't get 50, good luck getting a veto-proof majority. I don't care. Veto his own budget then until they put the SAVE Act in. I'm so listen, it is tiresome. I'll admit, there's some of the I hate Trump so much, he's the worst, blah, 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 ever, that you roll your eyes about. But there are also the people, I don't know what Trump could ever do to upset some of these people. Trump could do nothing. He's the victim of the Senate, and there's nothing he could do. So he has to endorse people like Cornyn that are instrumental in subverting his entire agenda. What else could he do? What could he do? He just has to say, shucks. Oh, well, I guess I'll continue to give these people everything they want. All of a sudden, the master of the art of the deal becomes a total fucking invalid when it comes to pushing back against the neocons that are subverting his agenda. He's just like, well, shit, there's no negotiations to be had. There's nothing I can do. Nothing. And people are like, yes, of course. Of course, what could Trump do? Notice I didn't say end the filibuster, one. So, second, the Dems will end the filibuster as soon as they get into power. That's inevitable. That's going to happen. Third, all they have to do is force a talking filibuster, which was the original intent of the filibuster anyways, which wouldn't be a rules change. Fourth, they could at least change rules that aren't rules like the blue SIP rule that allow Democrats in individual states, one Democrat to hold up all of Trump's appointees in that state. Choose not to. I just don't understand. I don't understand it. It's always completely foreign to me, the people that are just like, Trump can't do anything. House, the Senate, Republican president, he can't do anything. He can't. He can take photo ops with John Thune and call him a cool guy and embrace his buddies and go to the wars that they want. But he can't really do anything. He can't negotiate. Another option for those of you that want some hope here with Trump. Maybe Trump's got something in the chamber that he knows the populist wing of the party is going to really like. Maybe. It's possible. What if Trump knows 2 to 3 months from now they're going to file charges against people involved stealing the 2020 election? Could be. Or something else that they know is coming down the pipe that the populist wing of the party would be a big fan of. Could be. So it's like, look, let's give the neocons what they want now. It's also what Trump wants. He knows that there's something that he has in his pocket, some sort of leverage that the populists are going to like. It could be. Now, I put that as low likelihood. Even if Trump thinks that's the case, I don't know that that'd happen. But I suppose it's, if I'm just going through all the possibilities, it's possible. But the question of why does he seem to basically be slapping his populist wing in the face right now? I guess a small likelihood thing is because he knows there's something they're really going to like coming up. And so that'll give him the cover he needs. I just don't think that's the case. I think the most likely scenario is he's like, I already gave the populists a lot, and I'm the best they have, and these issues are important to me, these foreign policy issues, and that's what I'm going to do. That's what I think. Nikki, I'm not so sure that's the case. Trump put out a social media post today that said part 5 of the things he was asking for in the SAVE Act was stop allowing transitioning of kids without parental consent. He didn't remove that because there was pushback, and basically he put up stop allowing transing of children, period. I think probably he didn't realize what he was saying there. I don't think he interpreted it as, and that means I do allow it with parental consent. But here's the deal, though. I totally get. I understand I consider myself more of the populist wing of the party. And I have to be honest, I don't see anything post-Trump State of the Union to like. In fact, I see a lot I don't like. And I see the direction that the Trump administration seems to be moving to basically be George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, John Bolton. Yeah, Nikki, now I don't know what the actual act itself will say, but you're right. People called that out at first. And I get it. Now, we're going to talk about what to do if you're in my position. I don't think the answer is the Nick Fuentes, well, vote Democrat. I think that's a bad plan. Look, I got to be honest. I'll say this about Nick Fuentes. I might have this read totally wrong. I I vehemently disagree with a lot of the things Fuentes is suggesting as solutions. I think I haven't listened to him enough to have an opinion on this, but certainly people that listen to him and come onto my show go way too far with the Jewish stuff. Everything's Jewish. I don't know, whatever. But I think ultimately, and someone tell me if I'm wrong. I know Lobster doesn't like Nick Fuentes. I know there's a lot of other people that don't. I feel like Fuentes actually wants the people he claims to care about, wants the country to do well for them. Maybe that ain't Jewish people, but like Christians, white people, men, groups that he thinks have been labeled oppressors. I think he wants them to do well. He's running cover for Epstein. I did not know that. Not black people. Maybe not. I don't know. He's a Fed. Maybe he is. I don't know. My gut feeling is maybe he's a Fed. Maybe he's a plant. It seems like that at time to time. Maybe he's just someone who I think is misguided in his proposed solutions. I guess let me put it this way. Forget about Nick himself. Just someone of that character who sort of holds those genuine positions. You can hold that character and positions, and I'd understand why you're not a secret Democrat by now saying, don't vote or vote Democrat. I understand it. I think it's wrong, but I get it. A better example is my friend Kurt, who said this the other day. Kurt's a great guy. Welder that calls into my show all the time. And he's like, accelerationism, baby. I think he's 100% wrong, and I told him. But I understand it. I do understand it. I don't think that Kurt's like, I've always been a secret Democrat, trans lover, and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that at all. It's just, I'm fed up. I've told this story before, but I'll say it again. What was unique about Donald Trump? Why was it that this Manhattanite billionaire resonated so much with huge swaths of this country? What was it? My parents had never voted in an election in their life. My mom works the polls now because of Donald Trump. Redneck, poor people that live almost the exact opposite life of Donald Trump. Why do they like him so much? And the reason is this. Because this country has been so bad in the cultural and political realms for blue-collar, rural, work with their hands, middle, lower class people for so long that they'll take anyone who at least pays lip service to them. You're not shitty people. You're not flyover country. You're not horrible oppressors. You don't have this privilege. You deserve representation. You deserve to be proud. This country deserves to be proud. This is a great country. And at the national level of politics, no one believed that from anyone for probably 3 decades, since maybe Reagan, which is before my time, basically. People were thirsty for that message. Yes, finally someone that doesn't look at us as shameful. That's just waiting for us to die. That hates us. It didn't matter if Trump was really that or not. You might say it was always a ruse. Trump was always lying. Maybe true. I don't think so, but maybe. What mattered is those people believed it. And they needed something to believe. That's what it was. Take nothing away from Trump's ability, his charisma. Like, there's a lot to like about Trump when it comes to how he speaks and how he connected to people. And I know the people that hate Trump, they'll never get it. To them, it's totally foreign. He cheats on his wife. He's an asshole. Why would he talks like a shithead New Yorker? Why would some person in rural Pennsylvania give a shit? He connected. But here's the thing. As great as Trump was at that connection, the greatest thing Trump had going for him was that the bar was so fucking low. The bar is so low that if you stood up and said this, if I ran for president and I came down an escalator, it wouldn't be golden. But if I came down an escalator and said, I'm running because I'm tired of white people and Christians being shit on, there'd be a fucking volcanic eruption of people like, yes! Yes! Finally! Not everyone, but my goodness, are there people waiting for someone to say that? You can't even consider it. You can't even consider it. You're a racist piece of shit. How dare you? And Trump was part of that. Even if he didn't put it that way. Yeah, we're allowed to give a shit about foreign countries sending shitty people in our country. We're allowed to secure our borders. Fuck all that. You're allowed to be proud of your country. You're allowed to be proud of being a blue-collar worker. That's how low the bar is. You can't even think it. No one's going to say it in fucking... In 2016, the idea that anyone in any cultural space would have said anything remotely like that was verboten. How could you? Can't say it in academia, can't say it in the music industry, can't say it in Hollywood. But here's what I don't think Trump understands. It's not just about Trump. It's more about Trump than any other individual. That's true. But it's way bigger than Trump. The blue-collar middle class of this country, middle lower class, feel like the entire system's fucked them over. They work their ass off and watch some fucking Somalian that can't speak the language come over and get millions of dollars to have a daycare that doesn't have one fucking kid at the daycare. And they see these stories every fucking day. They see criminals being treated better than the fucking law-abiding people. Every day they see it. Every day their dollar buys less. Every day they're training people at their work from another country to replace them. Every fucking day. And they're tired of it. They're fucking tired of it. And they don't know how to articulate it. And they're not really aggressive. And they don't want to go out and make a stink about it. But ever so slowly, they see the country they knew slipping away. They see the corruption get bigger. They see the government get bigger. They see the fraud get bigger. More dollars printed. Less for them. More for foreign people. Over and over and over. And still that's not enough. We also have to shit on those people culturally. They cling to their guns and Bibles. They're in the Rust Belt. They're in flyover country. They're 10-tooth rubes that are racist, trying to stop the brown hordes. It never fucking ends. Now, we're going to fucking say that your daughters have to shower with men. We're going to go into the fucking schools and make your kids ashamed of how they were born. We're going to indoctrinate them to our bullshit fucking ideology. Over and over. Where are you going to escape? Football? Some sport? We're going to fucking shove it down your throat there too. Late night comedy? We're going to shove it down your throat there too. Church? Guess what, motherfucker? We're coming there too. Over and over and over. And Trump was seen as a pressure release valve. Finally, someone who's saying that. But it's not about Trump. If he fucks those people over, they're going to say, then fuck you. We'll go in a different direction. And someone will come out and they will say and mean what Trump was talking about. That's what's happening. And Trump doesn't understand it. Trump thinks that it's all about him. And there are those people. There are those people who were so thirsty for someone to come along and at least pay lip service to them. That they'll ride or die with Trump no matter what. You see it. You see it right here in my chat. It does not matter. Trump could fucking open the border tomorrow. And they'd be like, well, he had no choice. You know, well, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And you just shrug your shoulders. I don't know what to say to those people. I get it. I, too, want to cheer for a team. I do. But I can't. Because I'm cheering for a country. Because I'm cheering for the people that I respect. To have a country that respects them. So for me, it's not, well, I picked this guy and I'm always, no matter what he ever does, support him. Ah, bullshit. Don't give me that's not true. Rob, you sound like a real racist. Really? The guy I supported for president was Vivek Ramaswamy. Then that motherfucker comes out last Christmas and lectures us, you Americans, here's the deal with Americans. You're too much like Screech from Saved by the Bell. And fuck you. It's always an excuse, isn't it? More H-1Bs. More cogs in a machine. Fuck you. I'm allowed to be proud of my heritage. I'm allowed to want a country for people of my ancestral line. And fuck you for saying otherwise. I don't mean I'm trying to kick out everyone who doesn't look like me or any shit like that, but I'm tired of every other fucking group being allowed to celebrate who they are. Just not me. Fuck you. I don't want some group to tell me. Here, let me show you an example. I think I have the clip. And yes, a lot of Israel First people are some of the worst offenders. As such,
Only 2 weeks ago, a week before I went away, I opened Twitter on my phone. What did I see? I saw Jewish privilege trending. Do you know how that feels? Do you know how frightening that is? How
well, that'd be terrible. I bet it feels terrible.
angering that is? It is total white privilege on your part to use the word oppression in such a easy, cavalier manner. You're playing to the gallery. Only 2 weeks.
I'm tired of people that are from groups outside of mine telling me how my group should think. Fuck you. I'm tired of atheists telling me how Christians should think. I'm tired of people that are considered minorities telling me how white people should think. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. White privilege, fuck you. Where I live, everybody's fucking broke, working 10 hours a week. Kiss my ass. I don't want to give up on Trump, and I'm not. But he's mistaken if he thinks this is just about him. It's not. You heard what Trump said. We need to lighten up. Lighten up on wanting these people deported. Trump approved 304,125 H-1 visa visas through Q3 in 2025, allowed 310,000 H-2B visas, 66,000 H-2 non-agricultural visas, 64,714 H-2 supplemental visas, and has issued or renewed 145,000 H-4 visas, 640,000 student visas, and 122 OPT visas, and 78.5 STEM OPT. That's 1.7 million and change additional immigrants on visas thanks to Trump. I want the illegals out, all of them. And I want to stop mass importing foreign workers. I'm tired of it. I'm not saying there's no place for any foreign worker. It's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying at all. And why is it there these issues that almost everyone wants, or the majority of people wants, and it's like for both, like you can't even assume someone would push for it. Still, almost every poll I see, which granted, trust the polls with a grain of salt, still says that the majority of the country wants all illegals deported. $85 to 90% of us want voter ID. Now, some of these numbers I need to check, but that H-1B story? Microsoft's Indian CEO Satya Nadella fired over 15,000 American workers. He then announces 7,328 new hires from India, plus $17.5 billion in AI investment in India. Over and over and over, we see this story. People keep talking about, did you see the Marine that had his arm broken by Capitol Police? Looked to me like it was a Marine that was trying to be escorted out for being disruptive. Like it or not, that's what happens. And he grabbed onto a door and refused to let go. And as they were trying to lawfully remove him, his arm broke. Sorry. He's some fucking Palestinian supporter. Sucks. Senators shouldn't have jumped in, but I don't care. I'm tired of fucking litigating. Like, why do we still do this? I don't understand why we still do this. Rob, did you see how the violent lefties that want to think they have the right to do anything at any time whatsoever, that police were a little too harsh on them? Did you cover that today? Cool. All right, let's read some super chats. Shall we? We shall. Maybe. Where the hell am I at? There we go. Guy Ashby, $10 says, let them filibuster till they can't filibuster anymore. Get it moving, Thune. It's a huge slap in the face if they don't push this through now. Yep. If not now, then when, right? That's what we said about the Iran attack. Jordan Lofgren, $5 says, the language for the measure here is literally, do you want to restore fairness in our elections? So fucking blatant. Yep. Crazy. In Virginia there. Crash test dummy, $5. In an off-year election, Paxton seems unlikely to win against a Democrat, to be honest. Tallarico is an idiot and a communist, but he pulls well. Why would Cornyn be better positioned than Paxton? Anything that talks about Cornyn being better assumes that the entire populist wing turns out for Cornyn, which they probably won't. Tallarico's a really bad candidate. But if your argument is, it's an off-year election, he's going to win anyways, then fine. Why endorse a fucking rhino? Again, I shouldn't use that word. I talked about how I don't like it yesterday. The Great Wade Boggs, $100. Thank you. What a Chad says. Might as well get the first one loaded up in the queue. Jordan Lofgren, $2 says, President Norr win. Yeah, never. I'm not interested at this point in running again. Iron Ballsack, $10 says, Rob, fire me up about how bad Trump has been for us. Time for Franco to rise. It's going to come. Trams, $5 says, I have 3 boys and my wife and I are having our first baby girl tomorrow. Really enjoy this community. Pray for us tomorrow around 7:20 Central Time. I will be praying for you. I'll pray for you tonight. And look, one of the reasons not to get blackpilled is this. Like, they can't take that away from you. I mean, they can, literally, they can lock you up and shit. But, man, there's so much to life that's just so amazing. So much. And bringing another life in, first daughter, it's absolutely amazing. I'm so happy for you, man, and I'll be praying. Everything's going to go great. 3 days from now, you're going to be sitting at home with an amazing baby girl. So congratulations from the bottom of my heart, Trams. It's amazing. Crash Test Dummy, $10 says, if the Iranians are on the verge of having a nuclear weapon via enrichment, you need to engage. We did the wait-and-see approach with North Korea, and look how that turned out. Okay, but what's changed now from, say, 6 months ago, or from a year ago, or from 2 years ago? Because I keep hearing they've been at 60% the entire time. Adam Adamant, $5. Do you think the Iran attack could be worth it if it hurts China and Russia and gives us a position of strength in negotiations? I mean, there's a ton of reasons that it could be worth it. Even if I don't think the reason to go in was justified. If it's smooth, and let's say it ends tomorrow and Iran says, hey, we're on the United States side, and China and Russia are like, fuck, this really screws us, and so they have to come to the negotiation. Sure, I guess you would say, okay, I guess it was worth it. But, I don't know. Comrade Mao, thanks for the gifted sub. Really appreciate it. Merc Mitsu, $20 says, I've got your handsome dome on a 95-inch screen today, Rob. Hopefully it's got a thinning mode. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. 95 inches. Holy smokes. K2, keep on trucking. How you doing, man? Says, I wish Rob would go destroy Sucker again on CF channel. Was that Nick guy I just debated? He's frustrating. Brother Cody, $1.28. Thank you, sir. Look at that. You got a hat like me. Loving it. More celery. Member for a month. Thank you so much. Salutes and sandwich. Trams, thanks for being a member. Again, we'll be praying for you tonight. And then Joshua Newman, $5 says, laugh my ass off. My mom works a poll because of Donald Trump. Makes it sound like he's inspiring. Oh, shit. Mom, if you're watching, I didn't mean to tell people that you're working at a strip club. No, the polling places. The local town. It's cool. They'll get it's a small enough town. Everybody knows everyone. So she'll be like, oh, it was we had 37 people come through. It was pretty cool. They could even, never mind. I just need to take the term working the polls out of my vernacular when it comes to my family. It's just not good phrasing. Intel Wild, $5. Jasmine Crockett, a.k.a. Fake Long Eyelashes lost. Love it. Yes, Tallarico's worse than Crockett in every way, but it is fun to watch her lose. So what do we do? I mean, there's the cliche. Do what you can in your personal life, run for school board, vote for local elections, try to work on people that are primarying people. All that shit's true. It's cliche at this point, but it's true. That's the stuff that needs to happen. And the truth is, you can tell people that until you're blue in the face. It don't work. It just doesn't work. We talked about Brandon Herrera yesterday, but yeah, I'm a fan. It looks like Mike Johnson and them now see the tea leaves and they're calling on his opponent to resign, which is good, I guess, but they're not doing it because they're objecting. They just see the tea leaves, so. Open a strip club, call it the polling place. There you go. Now you're talking. No, it's some sort of revolution like that. No. Oh, he did resign? I didn't know he did resign. I knew he would, but good. Herrera. Like 30 minutes ago. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Guy Vermectin. Great news. Yeah. Go Herrera. He seems based. We're cheering for him. Hard to motivate people to get involved at a local level, let alone in off-season elections. So hard. It's not just hard at the level you're thinking. Like, I'm a nobody. And when I ran for Congress, I made a few connections at the PA state level. Some of them are very cool. Right? But when I go to like these Republican events, there's no talking sense into a lot of these people. Here's the deal. Right? No one wants to admit they're not the person for the job. Everybody thinks they're entitled to it. Not just the politicians, not just Mitch McConnell. I mean, all the way down. So when I talk to the treasurer of the county Republicans, that treasurer thinks, I put fucking time in. I care about this. I matter. I don't want to hear that I'm part of the problem. Maybe they're not part of the problem. But that's how they feel. But that's how everyone feels. So when you look at the collective, and you're like, well, something's not working here. But each of the individual of the collective says, not me. Ain't me. I'm doing great. Not my politician. He's good. It's all the other ones that are bad. I don't know. I think this is where the accelerations are going. Let me ask you this. If you had to pick a moment in your life, I'm 41, but I assume most of you are at least adults. If you had to pick a moment in your life that you saw normie people all of a sudden take an interest in politics, what would it be? There you go. Jay's 41. I know for me what it would be. Iraq War or Trump? Nah. The Iraq War was... Yeah, Lobster gets it. It was COVID. 9/11 brought patriotism, but not necessarily politics. COVID brought politics. That's different. All of a sudden, people saw it right in their face why politics matters. Wait. I can't send my kid to go to school and go to work? I can't go visit my mom in the nursing home? My daughter can't have a wedding? No. I can't go to church? Nope. It took things getting so bad before people were like, what the fuck? That's accelerationism. Let's bring on COVID 2.0. Fuck it. Bring in the people that want to fucking throw you in jail for your memes like in the UK. Fuck it. Debank every motherfucking conservative. Everyone. Ever said anything good about Trump? We're coming for your ass. Till enough people say, wait, what the fuck? And then maybe they'll say, you know what? Maybe I will go vote in that primary. Maybe I will. Maybe I'm going to start to take more of an active interest now that I realize what the stakes are. Little funny, a humorous joke there from our resident lefty A1 Steak says, why go to church when you could go meet God like Herman Cain? Get it? Because Herman Cain didn't wear a mask. Now, masks weren't supposed to protect you. They were supposed to protect other people. Anyways, Herman Cain died. You got locked down from church, but Herman Cain died. Isn't that funny? Hey, a great joke. I guess my retort to this would be, why talk on my channel when you could go fuck yourself? But here's the thing. The acceleration shit's not a good strategy. The acceleration will happen even if it's slow eventually. Right? You try to wake people up now. I have a son. I'm not trying to make this country a fucking hellhole intentionally so that other people might decide to get off their ass. They might not. It might be too late by the time they decide. So what I recommend doing is, first thing is, take stock. If you're real pissed about this Iran attack, take stock. Are there things that a Trump administration still can do, even if it's not giving you the majority of what you want, that is still worth at least going out there and voting against the Democrats? And how could you push that message to people? Do that while simultaneously understanding that you need to also start holding your own politicians accountable. Do your best. Support what you can now. Win the midterms. Look, as bad as this attack is, if you think it's really bad, the Overton window has been allowed to shift on so many issues, and that's something. And that something occurred without accelerationism. The types of things that people will publicly say right now on social media would not have been possible 8 years ago. And regardless of what you think, a large amount of that is because of the success of Donald Trump. That's Trump's greatest strength. Exposing the deep state just by existing and watching them act against him, and helping shift the Overton window. If you're a Nick Fuentes fan, understand, Nick Fuentes wouldn't have been possible 8 years ago. Now he is. Did it require insane amounts of accelerationism? No. It didn't. So giving up when you've already seen, and that's just if you're a Fuentes fan, whatever the case may be, we've seen the cultural needle moving. So giving up politically right now and just saying give the left everything they want is a huge fucking mistake. And if you're wrong, you've doomed us. Keep pushing back. Do what you can. Don't go silent. Voice your criticisms. Sure it is. It's a great thing that white identitarians are unable to exist in the mainstream. Why not? Every other identitarian group could, but not whites. What's up, Brad, dude? Doing good? I'm not going to doomer pill or fucking all of a sudden just, oh, woe is me, just give up, totally give up. If things get bad enough from the Trump administration, it would have to get real bad that I would think that they're totally zero difference between them and a possible Democrat. Then I'd vote third party. I would, but I don't think I'm there yet. Define white identitarian. You said the problem was white identitarians could be open now. That leads to Nazis. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. The Nazis means fucking nothing to me. Go fuck yourself. This means nothing. Every other identitarian group, fucking communists, progressives, black nationalists, every other group, but as soon as, oh my God, it's so dangerous now that white people will stand up and say they're proud for being white. What if that leads to Nazis? Fuck you. That's my answer to you. Maybe you should have said something fucking 30 years ago when it became popular to have every institution be inundated with identitarians of every other group. I'm talking about Nick Fuentes. Okay, how do you shut Nick Fuentes down? How would you do that? You're 30 years ago. You're 7 years apart from me. Great. I'm sure you were speaking up vehemently when you were 18, right? So tired of it. If the other group's allowed to celebrate their identity, but if whites do it, it could lead to Nick Fuentes, so we have to be careful about that. Make sure we don't celebrate white identitarianism. Okay. Sure. What next? You gonna tell me, I'm an atheist, but let me tell you why Christians should not vote, and that would be good for them. As a Christian, here's why you must turn the other cheek and let us punch you in the face. That's what you should do by your standards. That's what you should do. You said white identitarianism. That was your argument. You said it's probably not good that white identitarians are now able to exist in the mainstream, though. A white identitarian, someone, I would define that as someone who identifies and celebrates being white. I have no problem with that. So no, I don't think there's a problem that those people are now, like every other identitarian group, allowed to exist. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I find it quite racist, the idea that those people should not be allowed to exist online, while every other group of identitarians should be allowed. I said that in response to Nick Fuentes. Then go watch Nick's show and go fuck yourself. So tired of it. So tired of this bullshit. Nick's feeling bad. That's a problem. This free speech shit's a problem. Nick Fuentes talks. That's a problem. Let's go back to the old days when Twitch censored everyone. Next thing you know, people will be questioning elections and vaccines. That's a real problem. Every fucking institution in this country to criticize white people, Christians, etc., push this fucking progressive agenda. And then it's like, look, Overton Window is moving. People are starting to call that shit out. Yeah, but now what about the problem? Nick Fuentes, that's the problem. Let's focus on that. Yeah, you're right, dude. Oh my God. No. Holy shit. He's selling hoodies too. Ah! Oh no! God forbid he be allowed to voice his opinion. That's terrible. You know what we should do to Nick Fuentes? We need to take a lesson from a greater country than us, one that respects free speech and democracy. You know, they wouldn't allow Nick Fuentes. How things going in the UK right now? Did you know that crime and terrorism's on the rise there? Well, we found the culprit.
I just got all my device taken away by the police. My mum couldn't believe it. I might get a criminal record and not be able to go to college. I only shared a link. I just thought it was funny. But it was terrorist content. And that is not a game. It's real life.
Yeah, he probably shared a Nick Fuentes meme. Oh boy. Yep, bring the hammer down. That's the real problem in the United Kingdom. Young white kids sharing memes. That's terrorism, not the Muslim grooming gangs. So excuse me while I take your criticism, roll it up in a fucking ball and toss it in the trash. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Yes, when free speech is available, people will speak freely. I won't appreciate everything they're saying. It's far better than the alternative, and what we had recently in the past was that the censorship was so pervasive that either people self-censored or they were censored on these platforms where only one sort of ideology was allowed, which happened to be a violent, hostile ideology to my way of life. Of course I know how to interpret criticism. Oh shit! Fuentes is selling Epstein quarter zips. Wow, I've changed my mind. Ban the fucking internet. I've seen you debate. You never assume good faith. Not from some fuckface lefty like you. Probably not. Even without assuming good faith, I'm still able to wreck the arguments. I'm just so tired of this. Rob, you're in this group. You're a Christian. So let me tell you, as a Christian, why you should not vote or be involved in the political process whatsoever. Because if you do, that's considered Christian nationalism. So instead, don't be involved in politics whatsoever. After all, Jesus said, give unto Caesar what's Caesar's. And let me tell you why that would be best for you. Of course, our policies are going to be killing babies, bringing in third world people to displace you, but that's good for you. Rob, as a white person, let me tell you why it's a problem that white identitarianism could be online. Of course, I haven't said shit about black identitarianism, Hispanic identitarianism, Asian identitarianism, trans identitarianism, LGBT identitarianism, women identitarianism, but whites, there's an issue. It could lead to Nick Fuentes. What do you say, Rob? Would you like to talk about that? You just do a straw man voice and say vaccines or some shit over and over again. Straw man voice is so weak. I'll tell you what. Oran Yeti, you seem to be a very intelligent person. So here's what I'm going to do. How would you like to call in? After all, it'll be easy to dispense with my weak straw man arguments. Hell, if you think that I'm talking too much, we'll set a timer up so that we can each have equal amounts of time to speak. How's that sound? After all I do is straw mans. Should be easy, right? No problem, right? Ah, yes. Sounds like a waste of time, he says. Sounds like I'd get my ass kicked. Well, there's an answer for that, too. I will admit, it is a weird thing. Sometimes, I do feel like I should have more of a responsibility to try to help out my audience. And I do feel bad because I do feel that it probably would be a waste of your time. So how can I help you not waste your time with some lowlife like me anymore? I think I have it. I think I know a way that I can help you stop wasting your time. Thanks for the content. There, now his time's not being wasted. Unless he's creating another account to come back on. That would be sort of a waste of time. In my opinion, but what do I know? I just straw man and on having whiteness. I've read shit like that, yeah. We've covered that sort of stuff before, but yeah, it's definitely not something I'll do at some point. Here's a dude running for Senate, by the way, as a Democrat. Then I'm assuming that guy had no problem with identitarianism. White skin gives me and every white American immunity from the virus, but we spread it wherever we go through our words, our actions, our systems. We don't have to be showing symptoms like a white hood or a Confederate flag to be contagious. The only cure is diagnosing the virus within ourselves and taking dramatic actions to contain the spread. The first small step is proclaiming loudly and unequivocally that Black Lives Matter. But you know, the problem is now there could be white identitarians that say, yeah, fuck you. I don't think being white's a virus. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. What do you want to talk about, guy who's ready to call in? I saw you were saying this earlier. I don't really do call-ins. If you have a specific thing that you want to disagree with me about, that you want to call in, fine. You says, if I rot you, you'll be really aggressive and don't want that. I want to help you. You want to help me? Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much. You have something I need to think about. Wow, that's very generous that you want to help me. Amazing. Well, how benevolent. Helping me out. All right, Mr. Guy, you can call in. Why not? I'm sure this will fucking... I'm going to the restroom real quick. Mr. Guy, I'll give you a chair for a minute here. Mr. Guy is going to call in and help me on an issue to be determined. Oh, it'll be fun. What are any guesses? Jaceberg. So we got, I'm not harsh enough on Israel. That's guess one. Guess two is just agreeing with everything I say, but saying, oh, you could say it this way better. And then I'll just sort of be like, sure. Question three is, or suggestion three is, Trump's really the man and I'm wrong about something. It's my guess. He said he's not coming on now? I hope not. Sometimes it takes people. What? Weight loss? Are you clicking the link? If you're calling in just to talk about weight loss, I'm going to tell you go fuck yourself. Just so you know. Like if you literally saw what I was talking about today and wanted to interrupt my show to call in and talk about weight loss, it's not even that I'm sure you could help me with that. I just don't give a fuck. That's it. Are you calling in or not? No, weight loss. Yeah, no, I'm fucking with you. Okay, are you calling in or not? If you're just trolling, you're banned. So you got like a minute to call in and then I'm just banning you. Because if there's one thing I don't respect, it's making me waste time on my show. Yeah, you're banned. Fuck you. See ya. All right, there was a nice little my extended car warranty. Ah, yes. Yeah, I would have been happy. I threw the offer out. Well, I saw earlier. I get it. Look, I've said this dozens of times, but with the call-in shows, we were getting a lot of trolls, so it's difficult to do those anymore. If I'm talking about a specific issue and a specific person says, I would like to call in because I have something pertinent to that, I disagree with you, etc., that's different. Yeah, we'll do those calls. But it's amazing to me how many times people, yeah, me. Okay, what do you have to talk about? Something completely unrelated. Okay? Yeah, it's not very good trolling. He was saying earlier, too, I want to call in. So I was like, oh, well, maybe he's like super Israel bad or something like that. Yeah. Well, at some point in the future, I'll have more to say about the trolling and the daytime show ending. But for now, that's all I could say. So when you have people that are announcing that their goal is to get your channel permanently banned in your chat, makes it difficult, right? Have to make an executive decision. So, anyways, some more super chats as the episode got took a turn there. Level 4 Lobster, $5 says, thoughts on the UK and other allies snubbing us. I know you don't agree with it, but I don't think if we provide them protection, they have no choice. Yeah, I mean, I think eventually they'll come around. But one of the things you have to consider is that Trump overplays his hand. At some point, if you push the rest of the world into a different, I don't think they're there yet, but, I think eventually they'll be forced to come around if Trump puts some pressure. Reverse Massage, $5 says, I'm hijacking your show to brag on my daughter, who is nominated for the Presidential Scholar. That's amazing. Congratulations, man. That's fantastic. For real. Congratulations to her. That's amazing. Congratulations, Reverse Massage's daughter. I'm sure well-deserved. I certainly was never nominated for any presidential scholar, that's for sure. Intel Wild, $5 says, I love it when Rob says, go fuck yourself. Yeah, I'm getting used to it. The Collector, what's up, sir? $10 says, Mr. Rob, we kicked Crenshaw out, and now we get Brandon Herrera, the AK guy elected in Texas, winning. God bless you, sir, and hope your local elections are as fruitful. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly positive. I didn't know him, so getting her out's positive. Mr. B, $10 says, how about making an AI song for haters to talk smack and then back out of Collins? 1510 SATs. Holy shit. I had a 12 something, like a 1220, a 1250, something like that. Like decent, but not great. When are we getting rid of Blondie? I don't know. When a Botox injection fails or something, she's no longer attractive. Fucking. Yeah, 1510, that's no joke, man. 1080 back in the day. When I debated at the National Debate Tournament, there is no doubt in my mind that of all the people that qualified the year I was there, that I had the lowest SAT score. There are people with perfect SAT scores that you would debate. 1511, that's very good. Thoughts on John Doyle? I don't know him. I think I've seen some of his stuff, but not enough to know. Yeah, see, I can't wait for my son to be objectively smarter than me. It's all right, Mr. P. I accept your ruse. Your lie worked on me. There you go. Drive a 16-penny nail in 1 to 2 swings. I could probably do it in 7. It's not too shabby. All right. Did I have other stories to cover? I did. I don't know. I mean, we talked about it last night, but the absolute hilarity of all these people in Congress grandstanding on the Epstein files and then refusing to release the fucking congressional slush fund. Now, let me explain real quick why that's stupid. For those that don't know, your tax dollars go into a fund that if someone in Congress gets accused of like sexual harassment or sexual misconduct, they just settle it with that fund. Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean they're guilty. It doesn't. Right? You could just be like, oh, all right, fine, fuck it. I'll get an attorney. We'll fight this, blah, blah, blah. And your team's like, why? Just pay them the $10,000 out of this fund and be done with it. Possible. Doesn't mean you're guilty. Free money. I mean, how many of you, if you got sued for something and you think it's outrageous and you didn't do it, and you could either, one, take your chance to hire your own attorney, fight it, and then hope that it gets proven in the court of law, or someone was like, hey, man, I'll just give you $50,000 tax-free, just a gift to settle it. Would you just be like, fine, fuck it, just settle it? Maybe. Do Congress people get a larger than usual false sexual harassment claim? Probably. It depends on what you mean by usual. I would say anyone who's in the public sphere is more likely to have claims levied against them, both legitimate and illegitimate. Are they more likely to be accused than an actor or an athlete? That I don't know, but I would say more than an average person. You know? But the point is that's irrelevant. If the argument with the Epstein files is this, because there is a connection to politics, powerful people, etc., being connected with Epstein, there is a public interest in knowing what the accusations were. knowing full well that not every accusation is true. That's the argument that basically set in motion the releasing of the Epstein files. Even the people most vehemently pushing the releasing of the Epstein files, like Thomas Massie, would admit, if pressed, yeah, not everyone that's accused in there is there proof that they were guilty. And yet, the American people deserve. There's a public interest. How is that public interest not 3 times stronger when, one, all of the people accused are public officials, and second, your tax dollars paid for it? How is there not even more of an argument for public scrutiny? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if every single person that ever used that fund is innocent. Don't we have the right? The same theory that says we have the right to see the Epstein files, wouldn't we also have the right to see our tax dollars being spent? I don't even remotely see an argument why it wouldn't be the case. But what's even more ridiculous is, how could you say the Epstein files should come out, but not the Congressional Slush Fund? There's no, the only person I saw try to fucking parse this out was AOC. And AOC was like, well, some of the people would be innocent. Same with the Epstein files. And then it was like, well, we didn't spend enough time talking to the victims to see what they want. And what if their names are released unredacted, or the accusations allow people to see? How's that any different with the Epstein files? The truth of the matter is, the vast majority of the people in Congress that voted to release the Epstein files do not give a shit. That's why they didn't give a shit under Obama. That's why they didn't give a shit under Biden. They just want to say Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein, Trump Epstein. That's all it is. The discrepancy is, because in one, they could try to tie Trump to it, or other people they don't like. In the other, they could be tied to it, and they don't like that. So they'll vote to release one and hold back the other. See you, Lobster. Have a good evening. So, you may really care about the Trump Epstein file, and you might be outraged by how Trump handled it, especially initially. Oh, I'm with you. But just understand, the people in Congress that are grandstanding on it, they don't give a fuck. Not the ones that voted against these files being released. They don't care. They don't give a shit about victims. But it's just, I saw someone basically say this in the chat, but it's one of my all-time favorite Norm Macdonald quotes. Hey, don't call me a cynic, but I'm starting to think these blood-drinking, Moloch-worshipping PDFs who run our government might not have our best interest in mind. That's good shit. Good shit. Am I saying it was a hoax? Guy's a real jerk, yeah. Ah, Norm was the GOAT. He was so good. Fortes, thanks for the $5 over on Rumble. Says not one step back. Keep on going. Every time you say fuck you, I get a good laugh. Thank you. I'm starting to get a cadence. Fuck you. I don't know. My wife's probably not a fan of that. I don't know. Mr. B, thank you so much for your 10 gifted memberships. Truly amazing. All right. Tomorrow's Friday. Maybe I'll join Verbal Combat. Smack around some people debating. Be around 9, 10 o'clock. I'll come on. Well, probably around 10. Stuff going on behind the scenes. All good stuff. I'll keep you updated as soon as things are confirmed. But I am reaching out to some people to get some more guests. What'd y'all think last night if you watched about my interview with Busby the Grim? I enjoyed it. It was non-political. We were talking about horror movies. Let me know if you enjoyed that type of stuff. Petrogard, $5 says, but Rob, if the slush fund files come out, everyone will know that allegedly Dan Crenshaw slapped my ass in an elevator. Think of the people. Well, okay, I changed my position then. Look at this guy, blue collar point of view, $30. Thanks for the membership. Good night, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, some night I'll stay up all night and win a verbal combat character. I'm very excited. By the way, speaking of horror, I didn't mention this last night, but I did mention that the one guy I took care of that was autistic was a big horror movie fan. So I got in touch with him. He is super excited to see the new Scream in theaters. So hopefully next week I get to meet up with my old friend and go see Scream with him. That'll be fun. Until Wild, $5 says Rob. Would you think less of me if I said I'm feeling a little black pill these days about politics? No. Look, here's the other thing I'll say about the black pill. Don't forget how quick our news cycle is. Don't forget, man. Anything could happen. So, stay positive. It's all right. Stay positive. When your back's against the walls, when you could push forward the best. So, yeah, it was. Yeah, check out the show yesterday, Fortes. I'm sure my editor, Black Elk, will eventually edit it into just its own standalone section. I also had a good interview with my friend Phil Kerpen on capping credit card rates. I enjoyed it, at least. Now, I know one whip song. Goodbye to the 100 of you that are about to leave because you're intelligent people. I don't blame you. Here's the new rules with the whip song. If you give a $100 donation, you get a whip song. Now that we've moved on to the ending portion of the show, anytime that we get a round number, a round 100 number, that'll be another whip song. So if we get up to $400, that'll be a whip song. So if 20 of you donate $5, that would put us over that, and that would be a whip song. However, if you donate 100, that's its own independent whip song. So let's say that Petrogard donates $100. That would take us to $407. That would be 2 whip songs. The 100 individual donation and getting us over $400. I'll admit that I'm a deeply closeted homosexual. That's one of the all-time best, Norm, with Larry King. What are you saying, you're gay? What? No, why would I say that? It's great. Kyle ran a mile. Thanks for the $2. Thank you. All right. Here we go for Wade Bugs. And we got a new song last night. Oh, and then it's $150 if you want to pick a song and $200 if you want to create a new one. The Yacht Rock song last night was damn good. Oh, that sounds horrible. Yeah, 100 basically gets you 2 whip songs now, yes. What do we got? Punk dubstep? Well, this sounds like... I don't remember it, but it sounds horrible. Oh, gosh. Well, it starts off good. All right, enjoy, Wade. Oh, goodness.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Last says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. 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 Left, right, left. Well, there's a way. There's a way. Left, right. Well, there's a way. There's a way. Left, right. A crack in the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
We did it. We successfully annoyed the shit out of, I think we lost about 80 people. Yeah. I have to say, that song sucked. Someone asked who plays the guitar in my intro music. The song is called As You Were, and the band is Track Tribe. So, and they generously put free use music up on YouTube. So, yeah, absolutely support them. I don't know. They probably hate me politically and everything, but yeah, that was not a great whip song. Boo that whip song. Yeah, Bill Hicks says there's a time I made him like it. I don't pick him. The wheel picks him. Ah, that's the Uncle Jorms didn't hate it. Nice. What was I looking at? Yeah, Brandon Herrera he's in now. He won the primary. Mark Halperin, who I like it two-way, is like put out today. Is like, look, based on the internal polling he's looking at, if the election was held today, Republicans would absolutely get wiped out. They would lose the House and the Senate. It's a long ways off, but that's where we're at. I don't think there's any denying it. To be fair, I just don't. Now remember, if you want the Yacht Rock song, you got to donate $150 to pick a specific song. I missed a super chat from Intel. Well, thank you. Kyle ran him out $2. Thank you. And then Intel Wild $5 as well. Would you go on whatever with Brian as the mod to debate Lion Brian, the Paul Ginger Shapiro? I'll donate $300 to you for that. I mean, sure, I would, of course. Oh, no. Oh, no! Oh, my goodness. Creamer Slinger. $200. What a Chad Superman logo. What a legend. Script for the boys. AI? What are you talking about? Disney whip song? Well, that's 3. That's getting over 400 and 500s, 2 whip songs, plus the Disney. Let's just get that shit out of the way. I absolutely hate this song with a passion.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We don't wanna go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says, nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, left, right, left, right, left. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Left, right. A crack on the back says we're gonna fight. We're gonna march all day and night and more. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war.
Hey, that was horrible. I hated every minute of that. Awesome. Now, that doesn't mean that Creamer Slinger isn't a total Chad, but that song fucking sucks. So I owe 2 more whip songs for that. And then the Great White Bugs, $100. I'd be a fool to pass up a 2-for-1 whip deal. Thank you, as always, Wade. That's 4! Please mercifully have some short ones. The only thing that keeps me going is the money, one, but also knowing that there are people that are here that hate it as much as me. This is a popular one, though. So there you go. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Corner. You know.
Well, there's a way. There's a way. Well, there's a way. There's a way. Well, there's a whip. Well, there's a way. Well, there's a whip. There's a way, but there's a whip. There's a way, but there's a whip. Left, right, left. Right, right. Right, right. Right, right. Well, there's a whip. There's a way. Well, there's a whip. There's a way. We don't wanna go to
have been a good place to end it. Hey! Now, it did sound a little like Limp Bizkit. So the other day, my wife goes somewhere, like grocery shopping or something, and she comes back and she's like, "Hey, remember that Limp Bizkit song, Break Stuff?" I was like, yeah, I know that song. She's like, "Yeah, I heard it in her Spotify mix on the way back." She's like, "Yeah, it's a pretty good song." And I contacted our friend group, and we mercilessly gave her shit for being a big Fred Durst fan. She's like, "Go fuck yourself. I like that song." So there you go. My wife, that's what she gets for saying she liked a song. Show her, right? All right. What do I owe? 3 more. Yippee. We can get through these fast. Come on. Something quick. Oh, the Elvis version. All right. Oh, this one's shorter. Good choice.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. They go to war today. The Lord under the lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. We're gonna march all day and night and more, for we are the slaves of the dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Hey! Nice! Look at that. 2 more. Woo! Plowing through it. Yeah, that was not a bad version. We had this one yesterday, but okay. This is like the Blink 182 one. Also not very long. All right.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where there's a whip, there's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
Right. We're plowing right through. Not liking this one. He said, well. Oh, sea shanty. How about it? Ah, nice short. Ha! Everything's coming up. Nice. Here we go.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. We don't want to go to war today, but the Lord of the Lash says nay, nay, nay. We're gonna march all day, all day, all day, all day. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Left, right, left, there's a way. There's a way. Our crack on the back says we're gonna fight. Where there's a way. We're gonna march all day and night and more. Where there's a way. For we are the slaves of the Dark Lord's war. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a way. There's a way. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way. Yeah. Where there's a whip, there's a way. There's a way.
We did it. We did it, y'all. By the way, did you see this guy? Look at this stink bug. What's up, stink bug? I ain't gonna hurt you. Spiders, I don't see him anymore. But my man, the stink bug, he's taking over. He's pretty friendly, too. He's like looking right at me. What's up, bro? I don't have anything for you. I'd give you like some sugar or something. Yeah? He's posturing up. I think he's showing his ass to you all. Hey, bud. You're good there. I ain't gonna bother you. Oh, he's on the move now. I don't know what stink bugs eat. He must find shit around here. Not too shabby. Give him a whip. You're deported, bud. I know what we'll do to this bastard. Until the Supreme Court intervenes.
Tariff.
Show him. All right, now. We'll be done for the evening unless someone wants to donate. It'd be what? Another $85 or so to get us to the next whip song? How do you get a song on the wheel? $200. If you donate $200, you can pick a genre and we'll make a new song. $150 and you get to pick to play any song you want. $100 and we spin the wheel. But it's also, once we clear like $700, that's an automatic spin, etc., etc. He's very bold. I don't know if you can still see him. Probably not. He's right in the edge here. He's like definitely like stretching. He's like, ah, he must have just woke up. Huh? They produce a pungent coriander like odor from scent glands when threatened or crushed. I'm not threatening. I don't want any stink here. I have a nice aroma myself. Ah, what's up, Jay? $5 says, let's go, boys, for Stinky. The bug, not Rob. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's not often people say I'm not stinky. He just Yeah, so if someone wants to pick the Disney whip song, they'd have to donate $150. Where you going, bud? You like that spot, huh? Here. See him there? I can't take it out any further, but yeah, you thought you were out of cam range, but we got you, bud. Got him. The shaky cam got him. There we go. Let's get it back. Never fails. We got him. Is there a Devo whip song yet? No. So it's difficult because you can't type in an artist. Oh, he just flew away. You can't type in an artist, right? So I can't type Devo whip song. I could try to find the style that Devo calls themselves, then put in a song that matches that style. But you can't put like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or Devo. New wave? Yeah, we could do new wave. I don't think we have that yet. Was it Kramer Singer? He threw in his 200. Now he's, yeah. Someone's going to throw 150 in for the Disney. Oh, also, you get a free Disney song at 1,000 once we get to the 1,000 mark. Vaporwave? I don't even know what that is. Is Devo new wave? Probably considered new wave. I don't know. Excuse me. Here's something that I keep seeing coming up. Isn't it weird how if you click on something, the algorithm just picks it up? So does anybody know? this is me entering a world that I'm not a regular in. Does anybody know the streamer Darkside Phil or DSP? Does anyone know who I'm talking about? I've just some of the clips people are putting up of him playing Resident Evil make me laugh my ass off. He's so bad. He's so bad at the game. It's hilarious. Makes me chuckle. But I clicked on one video, now they just keep coming up. Ah, see people now. No, it's funny. He seems to be an unlikable chap, but people like sort of picking on him, I guess. Yeah, he's a little cow, yeah. Getting mad at chat for not donating. Hey, I should try that. Guys, you know, we're having a slow night here. We're having a slow night, you know. We really need you to pick up the pace. You know, it's a slow night. You got wait, let me check my manual. Give me money, fuckers. There we go. Good night, Intel One. Did not grift myself into DSP. No! Donate for the haters. Do that. Show the haters who's boss by donating. It's about respect. That's right. I have a syndicated radio show. It's respect. That's what it's about. Speaking of respect, who are we raiding over to tonight? Someone out there deserves a raid. Who's it going to be? Ooh. Let's go with my man, Mr. Bill, tonight. Mr. Bill, good guy. Raid DSP. I don't follow him. I only see the clips of him on X and other places. Yeah, the gamer guy, yeah. Well, it's been a tremendous night. I can't thank you guys enough. We didn't reach our goal tonight. I'm disappointed, you know. You're not going to see the new Resident Evil emoji that I have. It's funny. It's very funny to watch. The $200 super chat, Rob Shapiro. I guess he could come out for 5 minutes for $200, but it's getting late, and I think people are ready to wrap it up. Wrap it up. I think that's what people are ready for. So, man, it's been a good night. Don't get bummed. Don't get bummed at all. We're still having a blast here, baby. So, remember, you can't start pushing forward till your back's against the wall. So to the extent you're not happy with the way things are going in the current administration, it's all right. We're not going to blackpill. We're going to keep moving forward. You have every right to be pissed off. I am. But for me, that doesn't mean accelerationism is the answer or any of these other drastic ideas. So tomorrow we'll try to do some verbal combat. Head over there. No problem, Jay. Cover some more news stories. Who the heck knows what'll happen by this time tomorrow night. But you guys are always the best. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much to my editor, Black Elk. Really appreciate all of my wonderful mods. They're great. Everyone who donated tonight, you guys are amazing. Creamslinger's going to flip out. He really wants someone to donate $150 for the Disney Whip song. What am I sabotaging? Can you give ideas for songs to play? No. Not really what I do. We've tried that before, and then it just ends up with 50 people with 50 different suggestions, and, you know. So, I do appreciate it, though. Yeah, I like doing the verbal combat. I would do debates every night if I could. I try to chum people in. I do. Why don't you call in? You got some shit to say. It's just they never want to, do they? Lou Holtz. Yeah, my goodness. Prayers out to Lou Holtz's family. Total legend there at Notre Dame. College game day. Oh, shit. Almost dropped my water. You did miss whip songs, Donald. So, we're going to raid over to Only Mr. Bill. Take a moment as we talk about all these black pill things. Just remember what the stakes are. When you think of Charlie Kirk and how he was assassinated and how people cheered it on, you still see these people on X today. I'll see people on X. I saw one today. Oh, you know, us on the left, we have humanity. You go back to their timeline. Good, I'm glad Charlie Kirk's dead. Mm-hmm. Never forget. Don't forget what the stakes are. So say a prayer for Charlie. Say a prayer for his family. Never forget. Enjoy this raid of Only a Mr. Bill. Give us up, good guy. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. As always, have a good one.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going. 1 Corinthians 5 and 15. So that's all pretty amazing evidence, not just intra-biblical evidence, but extra-biblical evidence that Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God of all.